Hello everyone, I am here. Sam's going out to get some coffee, and just waiting on stuff to go live on Nivea. Cool, I see the feed. Let's get going. Scout told me they would win 3-1 today. Did you speak to Scout? I want to believe in JDG, please don't disappoint me. I mean, I think this is a fairly safe matchup for them. Or rather, like, this is the most safe matchup in playoffs now, right? I do think on the whole, JDG were a better team fighting team than Weibo. I think their drafting was a bit suspect at points. But like WE, they play very heavy engage, snap engage kind of team fight style, right? And that worries me when JDG, I think they can just rock up to a fight and probably just win in the 5v5. It's the problem which WE has really is they don't really have the brawn to match up against this caliber of team. Now, Monkey is good, but he's playing with 3 losing lanes a lot of the time. So, first blood percent to W, which makes sense. They actually, W do have a good early game on the whole, or it did have a very good one. Knowing JDG lost to Weibo, JDG shouldn't be complacent at all. For sure, absolutely, I agree. I think that JDG got a reality check that they can't just glide into top 3. I think the problem is that there are always 1 or 2 players who are not constant. One is missing, and then one of the others. Yeah, Shun had a bad last series, for instance, right? Not that Scout had a great series either. It was Pays and Arla who were looking good. Yeah, so I'm sorry for the WE fans in chat. I think this probably will be a bit of a ritual execution. WE, credit to them. I think they did a good job of a good job this split. I think Group Ascend was largely a very positive experience, considering that they were almost not even in Group Ascend. I didn't think they were going to make it. I thought that LGD or maybe even Ultra Prime would make it to Ascend over them. That they clutched it through that, had some good series in Group Ascend. Now, I think there was a bit too much hype around them when they started sneaking some wins off of some top teams that didn't respect them very much. I think they've been figured out in terms of their draft. They got an early march on the meta. I've gotten really used to the background music here. I think WE could steal a game at least. JDG should be really worried if this goes to Silver Scrapes. But the thing is, while I don't think that JDG's drafts are good in later series, I think WE's are the worst drafts I've seen in Fearless later on comparative. For them, because they're quite a typecast team. Like, they need a tank top laner. They really need a global mid laner. They need a tank support for Vampire. And even Taeyeon's got 3 or 4 champions, which he really goes towards. Anyway, I'll give you the interviews.
欢迎来到赛前采访，我是主持人洛星，在这里我们请到了西安 WE 的上单选手 Cube。Cube 你好，先跟大家打个招呼吧。
大家好，我是 WE 上单选手 Cube。
欢迎 Cube。今日你们将背水一战，再无退路可言，这是不是也让你们想要获胜的决心更加坚定了呢？
因为上一次复活机会已经用了嘛，现在就是谁输谁就回家了嘛，所以就这一场就还是有一点压力的吧，感觉就都不想输吧。
大家想要赢的决心都非常的坚定。那说起来，经过这几天的休整，今天在淘汰赛当中，你们将再次面对京东 Gaming。这一次，如果 WE 想要取胜的话，你觉得大家需要在哪些方面做得比之前更好？
这一次面对京东的话，因为我们常规赛的时候打京东，当时是感觉比较有机会能赢下来的吧，所以我觉得我们就是正常打好我们自己的，少犯一点失误，我觉得我们今天挺有机会的吧。
好的，我们也期待今天你们的精彩表现。同样，我们也请到了北京 JDG 的打野选手勋，你好，先跟大家打个招呼吧。
大家好，我是 JDG 打野勋。
欢迎。那在常规赛当中，你们2次面对西安 Team WE 其实都是更胜一筹的，这会不会让你们面对今天的比赛更加的有信心呢？
因为上2次其实赢的也比较有点难度吧，然后这打团我觉得在前期的规划要做得更好吧。
前期的规划非常的重要。那今天可以说你们也是没有退路了，没有复活甲了。那对于你们来说，大家面对这场比赛的时候，心态会不会有所不同？
我觉得虽然是没有复活甲，但是我觉得大家还是保持一个好的心态吧，然后好好发挥就好了。
那在今天这场和 WE 的对垒当中，你觉得打野位上面的对垒会成为一个关键的胜负手吗？
我觉得 WE 的野辅其实在前期的进攻是蛮快的，然后打他们的话，我觉得就在前期多注意点，然后会好打很多。
好的，来看看你们今天在比赛当中的执行究竟如何，我们也期待这场精彩的 BO5的较量。
观看2025英雄联盟职业联赛第2赛段，您可以通过英雄联盟客户端找上英雄联盟及英雄联盟赛事官网 LPL.QQ.com、虎牙直播、斗鱼直播、哔哩哔哩直播、咪咕视频、腾讯视频、腾讯体育、新浪微博、微信视频号进行收看。电视机前的召唤师可以通过百视通平台收看全程赛事。全新纯电 G 级越野车越野图腾御电峡谷。李宁英雄联盟泳池派对2025新品现已上市，3C 数码618，国补点以旧换新4折起。我在场就是主场，莫兹利安为 LPL 奶硬口。全新 OPPO Find X8 系列夜景人像神器，夜拍超清晰，人像 MVP，TCL 全屋智慧家电，峡谷英雄敢为不凡。2025 LPL 官方指定家电产品，更受电竞用户喜欢的能量饮料，有能量当然战马。澳丰电竞椅连续5年中国电竞椅销量第1，开一局吗？开就开。保护有度度，尽情开一局。感谢全场保护的杜蕾斯。英特尔酷睿 Ultra 200HX 冷酷高手 AI 助攻，右边型战士来袭。
欢迎来到2025英雄联盟职业联赛第2赛段淘汰赛现场，这里是京东电子竞技中心，让我们有请西安 Team WE。Beijing JDG Esports.
Okay. Stream's loud. Okay, cool. No worries. Honestly, the feed has changed so much recently that it's quite hard to tell where to put the volume of it. Well, we're gonna have both of our teams coming onto stage. Reminder: this is JDG's home arena.
有请上单 Cube 阿乐。
Oh, Mecha, you didn't. Mecha with a 50 gift bomb. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All hail the Euler Mecha
打
himself.
野 Monkey 寻。
Well, hope you got your lucky drop of subs. Good morning, Tanasco.
中单 Harris Scott。
May not be able to make it entirely financially viable, but we're gonna try. Mecha does help. Like it is, yeah, it is very much the thing which makes this easy to keep going. However, I feel bad about it being largely floated by you, but you know, I'm not gonna say no, am I?
辅助 Vampire Missing。
So this is JDG's home arena in Beijing. WE a little ways from home. Typically they play in Xi'an. And I'm trying to remember what happened. I remember W taking a game off of JDG in Group Ascend. That was the big thing which they did against JDG. I can't remember if they took more than one game. I can't remember if they did it twice.
LPL 第2赛段淘汰赛第6日，西安 Team WE 对阵北京 JDG 即将开始。
two had them
让
the
我们
first
期待
time
一
around
场
and then lost a
精彩
single
的
game
对
to them, but
决
did win against them the second round robin. That's did you wait? Hang on, did she just Kamehameha? Kamehameha! She just altered us, chat. She just altered us. Okay, let me go see which GOLs I should bring up. Well, probably WE and JDG, shouldn't I? That makes sense. I believe WE have side choice for the first game. So, the big thing you should be watching out for... Wait, Vampire fan club members only in the YouTube chat? I swear you're everywhere now. The big things you need to be watching out for WE, they are quite an easy team to understand what they're after in draft. It's quite nice for us as casters because we kind of know what they're looking for. Tank top lane, global mid, engage support. And then you've got a couple of choice champions for Shun and Monkey in there too, like the Ezreal, Kai'Sa, Taeyon. And then for Monkey, the Trundle's really big, but then obviously stuff like the Neferi also getting good value. believe I heard Sam come back in. Oh, hey, Angie. Angie, 75 strim streak. Well, let's get us onto that first draft of the day, shall we? Is this the cool draft music? I think it's game 1 or game 2. Thank you, Sam. It's brought back coffee.
I have indeed.
Lovely.
Downstairs,
So saying that W is kind of a nice team to... Well, hey, I like the coffee downstairs too. It's just more expensive. So I was just saying, WE are a nice and easy team to figure out because you kind of know what they want. They've had 2 of their AD carries banned away in the Ezreal and the Jhin. Does open up something like a Talia first pick for Karis. For him, I really look at the Talia and the Pantheon also for WE. Really, forgoing the global mid for an Azir instead, potentially. So I was just saying, you know, W very typecast. They want tank top lane, global mid, and engaged support.
Yes.
And then there's also comfort picks for jungle support. Are they giving over Pantheon Talia? I mean, they don't need to pick the Talia right now, but what happens if JDG pick in, you know, the Varus? Obviously, great blind pick here. Pays and then go to
nearly every lane, and Pace is phenomenal.
There's also Rumble as well for JDG that they're threatening now too. So WE, do you lock in Rumble, go double AP solo laners, and potentially get Galio'd on the other side? You have to lock Rumble, right? Because it's so good with the Varus and against the Azir. They do lock that in.
Cube is a Rumble player at least. He's got a couple games on it. Certainly more. Probably his most proficient carry champion, for all he's not really been a carry player. Worth noting as well, Monkey has been one of our foremost Trundle players. He sees the angle for it. Can be alright into a Varus and get the pillar behind them, but the range can get a bit messy. Instead goes towards Iskana, another one of those kind of more tanky options he has put a fair amount of time into.
I'm pleased to tell you, Sam, it is the cool draft music.
Oh, is it the cool draft?
It's the cool draft music, Sam. It's basically, you know, it's basically the Breaking Benjamin riff. It's really cool. So we get to have that for the first series today. But they've given over Pantheon Talia and a Varus. You know, Varus Talia is a great combo because Varus, you know, it's quite an easy ult to hit onto a single target. Gives a free shove over towards the Talia. No one's particularly survivable through that from W. Yes, the Scar is tanky-ish, but against that kind of burst, quite hard.
Can be very annoying, for sure. Let's see what they want to ban away here at the back end of it all, because we've got ourselves a very, very heavy 2-item team fight comp from WE. JDG, a little bit more about the global, about the pick threat that they can play off with. That Talia you called out. Took them around to round 3, but I don't think they're going to care all that much, as it will be 80 carry bans now coming on through to try and make that lane as obnoxious as possible for Pays to punish.
Whereas WE probably ban away Gwen, maybe Galio as well. Just stuff that does okay into the top lane matchup and can give a point of pressure for JDG to play around the top lane matchup against the Rumble with the double Galio, double globals rather, flying in. Question in chat as well, who is WE's strongest player? I think it's Monkey. I think Monkey's been really good. Although WE, you know, I think every member's had standout moments to get them to this point. I think they've all... The big thing for WE for me, every member has achieved above my expectations.
Yeah,
and that is a great, entertaining thing to see from our teams. I will always want to see teams overperform my expectations for them.
That is now 4 straight 80 carry pads from JDG against Taeyun. And again, I think if there was another player who might be in the shout-out for best player on W, I'd argue Taeyun is actually up there. He nearly hit my AD carry MVP list, purely because of how critical he has been to being the bedrock for WE, making it as far as they have.
However, on the other side, Pays was on my not just AD carry shortlist, he was on my MVP shortlist.
Oh yeah.
So Taeyun, very important, performing well for W, especially after a torrid year in LCK. You know, like, this guy has been like a real light for them. Pays on the other side, carry JDG through the back half of the split, like something, like a man unleashed, really. So now giving himself that Varus, getting an Ornn to kind of peel for him in the fights as well. JDG have long range engage, fantastic team fight setup. WE, they're going to struggle in the 5v5s.
On paper, you'd think, Azir, Rumble, Skarner struggling in 5v5, but you're kind of right. The range, the pick, the collapse time is just so short for JDG as well. You can end up in this position where a 3v3 becomes a 5v3 real fast with how long range and mobile most of those champions are in some capacity. They've gone towards the Corki, partly because he can lane alright, but partly because the Valkyrie might keep him safe against some of this menace.
Vampire goes towards the Rel. I almost would have preferred the Leona, because my worry is, if you engage and the Ornn ult comes over the top to buy time, the Pantheon E as well, your carries get to be a lot more safe than the enemy carries. You don't have that much backline access. Missing goes towards the Alistar. I totally agree with this. JDG have enough engaged. They have enough damage coming through from the Varus to Leer, and then of course the Pantheon cleaning up as well. You just need a way to hold the door shut. Having an Alistar ult to do that, an Ornn ult to do that, buys JDG a lot of safety for their backline, which I don't think WE can do for their same carries.
I think you've got a point there. I will say though, of course, you've still got the, I know, right? The Charcoal Skewer combo with the Rumble Skarner. You've still got Nazit. You've still got a Corki. Your AoE damage in a team fight can just blow through a frontline. Post a certain point, your damage really will be pretty obscene post about 2 items, especially if you can get a Rel pairing up with a Skarner to CC enough people down. It's just, can you get to the important people? Or conversely, can you burn down the frontline so fast that the important people are really, really left out to dry?
So this is game 1 of our series today. This is lower bracket round 1. We are elimination in this series. For those of you who are interested in such dramatic stakes, JDG are on their home arena. They had lost one series to Weibo of all teams in their home arena, in which all of playoffs is being played in Beijing. Winner of this series goes on to face Top Esports, who were humbled by BLG and will be very, very angry coming in as the first seed and getting demolished in such a fashion. JDG, their lower bracket run will have to be incredibly solid to make it further and potentially make it to an international event. They haven't made it to an international event since 23 Worlds. They didn't make it in any of 2024.
That's wild, actually.
And this team has now reinvented itself and will have to dig deep to get to MSI through this split. WE, sadly for them, may be ritually executed if JDG turn up in the performance that we expect from them, but they themselves have known to be a bit of a blue shell.
I want JDG's chat leader to be at my wedding. I need him to announce things for me.
You know what? Like, if I get... Okay, so it's my birthday at the end of the month. Just thinking this. I don't know if anyone could get in contact with this guy. If anyone could get him to just do like a... Ding dong! Just as a voice note for me, that... I'm just saying, if anyone has the power to get in contact with this man in the crowd of JDG.
Well, we know a few of the LPL talent. We can maybe just go like, yo, Iris, can you find this man?
There is also the JDG like Discord as well.
True.
But like, what I really need is just this guy to know how happy he makes us in the international audience, because that is a person I aspire to be. 2v2 can be a little bit variable. I mean, the Corki role, we saw it lose pretty hard yesterday, actually, in the early game, but then pick things up for IG a little later. The Varus going towards the poke build, really annoying lane though, and you often do want to hug the brush to try and get a good level 1 before he starts poking you down.
For sure, Vampire will crash down and away. Not crash out quite yet. That's for later. Someone will be baby no caster again. Start screaming. Missing, eat some damage. Do you want to know, like, so obviously I went to the LLC finals.
Yes.
And do you want to know how many times in the space of 2 hours I went, wow, you look like Baby No Money? Do you want to know how that was?
I'm going to say 3 times.
5.
Wow!
Yeah. 5 people I'd never met before. Say, oh my god, you're not Baby No Money. No, I'm not.
No, he's slightly more British than that. Yeah. So Vampire and Taeyeon getting control of the wave level 1. No surprise given that Alistar struggles to do that. At the level 1, they'll be able to pick up farm. I don't actually think they've lost any CS here though, which I think is completely fine for them. Even gets the arrow over the top whilst also farming with it. That's a nice place. Shun's down on boss side too. That's important.
You're busy memeing about Baby No various dollar signs.
Oh, that's a good knockup.
Pulverized, headbutt behind. Corki is left out of right. Flash forward, trying to get missing. At least gets one with him. Credit to Taeyeon.
Yeah, that's really good. Getting the first blood down there. Of course, it doesn't give you extra gold anymore, but he will get the gold. Whereas the kill goes over to Shun on the other side. Missing. Good double knockup, but of course, the turnaround, nice. However, Taeyeon loses some farm and loses some XP potentially. I don't know how many minions died in the bot lane. They haven't been able to shove it into turret. I think that is probably still a trade up there for WE, given that it was a 2v3.
You take that day of the week. Boss bomb at level 1 is pretty silly. Vampire taking opportunity after that play bot side to roam out of the lane. Didn't want to be there. So tries to look at Scout, who just kind of goes, sure.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's only level 2 Rel, so it doesn't do that much damage. It's a little bit of CC, and Scout, credit to him, you know, uses his quite a discipline there. I think this is trying to stop Vampire getting back towards lane. Wanted to pull him out of the crash and stop him getting towards the lane there.
Comes on through, tags Taeyun, and the issue that has been lost is the XP early on as Taeyun's left caught at level 2. That pays able to get a fair amount of
down here
here.
again. Now they really want to punish this before he gets that XP back. Does hit level 3, will have Valkyrie now.
Try and jump onto him. There's the Hex Flash over. Taeyun got the Gatling gun running. Headbutt to the wall, into the Pulverizer. Headbutt away, though, is Shun. Missing, not quite dead yet. Survives the dive. Good work from him and the squad.
Is anyone else coming down? Monkey's coming down. Who takes the body block? It's going to be Shun.
Gonna try and get some damage onto both here. Vampire and Monkey spreading out, but Shun and Paige pretty scary. Not a lot of mana, though, on the likes of Paige to try to auto his way to victory. Vampire really low. A last auto does get it. Still got a shield stuck into the Mortal Will. Driven into the tower by Monkey. And makes it, in the end, a 2 for 2, I suppose, in the grand scheme of things.
I think it's a 2 for 2, but once again, it's the AD carry which dies, which is really annoying for WE. The Corki getting put behind. Corki is not a good champion when he's put significantly far behind in the game. He's safe, he just doesn't offer that much after that point, especially with someone like the Varus being very good at taking an individual AD carry matchup, especially the poke build, and trading very hard against you. Shun, 2 kills for him, a player that we're looking to step up because he had a poor last series versus Weibo. He is up against arguably WE's most important player of Monkey, who when he gets rolling will give a lot of problems to his opponents.
And that's completely fair. And the gold lead, as it stands, is non-existent, basically. It's oscillating 100 gold one way, 100 gold the other. We haven't really seen all that much here in the way of actual lead. The biggest lead currently is towards the Rel, who has survived more than the Alistair, basically.
Yeah, the big thing is XP. The big thing is XP, which actually has been evened out by Taeyun now, but there's a wave being collected by Pays. So JDG trying to hard shut down the bot lane has not been quite as easy as they would have liked. I suppose the top lane matchup, worth mentioning this too. You know, Arla's doing fine in terms of CS. He's farming well here. Equalizes to clear the next wave. Arla will recall teleport back in. But, you know, the Ornn being just okay and existing is fine. As long as the Ornn exists within 5v5s later, W will struggle with that.
Well, some Hales of Arrows come on out. There's the kissing out that goes wide. Unfortunate. While Taeyun and Squad down bot side being very, very attacked. Level discrepancy not as successful as I thought, actually, as Taeyun, as you noted. He's now level 5, same as Pays, so enough of the minions did survive, and Taeyun was around enough to pick up that XP that hasn't actually led to as much discrepancy as I kind of think we both thought.
Yeah, I think the first kill, they didn't manage to push the wave into tower. I almost wonder whether Shin should have stuck around to help push it in at that point. But it basically ended up just being a stacked wave, which Taeyun picked up the most of under tower anyway. Now being forced off of the wave a little bit. Scouts once again receiving some attention from Vampire. We're getting towards the point where Globals are starting to come online now. Scout has his, Shin will have his within, what, about 2 camps, I'd say. So he's pretty close to it too.
Going off the wave a little bit right now.
-1.
There's the -1. Comes on through. Yeah, what happens if someone puts exclamation mark cannon in the Twitch chat?
Who knows, Sam? Who knows?
Hey, what happens there?
Good question.
Immediate cleanse flash. Good work from base, but the summoners are burned. The crash down does come through from Vampire.
It was a nice Captain Jack, but you're absolutely right. It's still both summoners down. But still, that was one of the cleanest cleanses I've seen, especially since that was reacting.
And a nice angle from the likes of Vampire as Pays his bot lane went to put a ward down, got the control ward down, and Vampire chose his moment well. It happens. Sometimes you feel like you can leave your AD carry alone, you just can't.
Head swatch over the wall again. We have to spot out Shun recalling right now. He's not got himself that level 6 yet. He's waiting for the next set of camps to come through. Almost had his first item as well. Of course, getting those 2 early kills. Trying to think of the 2 early kills between the junglers, who it matters the most for. I would say the Pantheon, but because I don't think it changes the way that Stana plays the game that much, whereas Pantheon, when he does get fed, I think it actually does in this competition. Stana, yes, getting towards an earlier Heartsteel and get a bit tankier feels quite good. I don't really think it changes that much, though. Shun on the other side, you can actually start one-shotting some squishies if he gets really far ahead.
Cube. Now, just be a bit wary there. Hasn't really got that much of a meaningful lead, it has to be said.
Wait, do I have Discord on?
I just heard a notification. I didn't want to say anything like
That's great.
So I was like, is that a one-off or
That's
not?
all good. I thought it would be in stream mode. Turns out it's not. Let me do that thing where I cut down on Discord. That should be fine.
No problem. I was just like, don't want to just say
I don't
something.
have the headphones on, so I can't.
Yeah,
do that.
I was trying to find a way to subtly tell you, and instead we're having the conversation live on air, which is super fun. So yeah, guys, Alex had Discord on. How dare he? Dragon's got picked up by Monkey. So lane swaps come on through. So Tame's picked up a couple of plates, which is great news for him. Ala's trying to walk up to this lane, but he will effectively be in a 3v1, especially if Monkey comes on over. Otherwise, it wouldn't, in fact, be a 3v1. I'd be lying to you. But he does manage to get to the turret.
Yeah, I mean, W do need to be a little bit careful. If they spot Shun, it's okay, but if they don't know exactly where he is, and they do spot him now, they can go for it knowing the Panther's not in range.
Drive forward. Got a big boulder in his hand, and everyone who drives cars knows that's how you do it. If Pale comes on through,
Alex looks quite perplexed.
Because Ala, he flashed and then still got hit by the Impale. Why would you invest it at that point? Didn't use the ultimate either, but chooses that flash. Tane's getting a lot of gold from this now too. Third kill over to Monkey as well, who we've been talking the importance of for WE. W 1,000 gold ahead at this time mark. Considering how much pressure was put towards them in that bot side early, they've got to be feeling very happy about that.
I think they absolutely are. And I think the other side of that is someone like Monkey being ahead like this is a great sign. Again, we have known him.
Nice flash.
Yeah, I think Scout's in trouble here. Mr. Cannon strike, unfortunate. Good Emperor.
Oh no!
And it's towards Monkey. Flash over the side, big shove at Scout. It's about to go down.
Not the cleanest execution, but a kill is a kill. Takes a flash from Monkey and the ultimate from Karis. JDG though, I'm getting quite worried now. You have thrown something out in the first jungle clear of the game, that's good. What do you do now when you're running around like headless chickens? Because you've lost a couple of kills, your cross maps have not been that impactful, and you're behind 1,000 gold. WE, they're a good early game team. You just have to make sure you're not giving up too much like this.
And again, we were kind of about to start musing on this point. Monkey is a player we have known for waves in the past. It's what he was known for in solo queue, about the Pantheon, the carry options for him. But the other side of that has been things like his Skarner have been really, really terrifying. And if he gets ahead enough this game, that he can start just bulldozing his way through what should be quite an annoying backline to get to, you start to get more worried for JDG's comp.
No, Skarner's the reason why WWE made it to 3% and eventually allowed them to get towards the playoffs as well. Now, I think it's a hard composition to play Skarner into. There's a lot to keep you away from the long-range carries of the other team. You need to make sure your angles are good, and there's not that many people opening up their angles with you. You don't have Ryze ult, Talia ult to help you find a multiple angle fight. Ala on the bot side trying to clear out as best he can. He's now down 20 CS and about 600 gold with that too, with the death, depriving him of some resources. Needs to keep an eye on that, actually. This one is a huge part of JDG's team fight later.
Building towards the magic resist early. I think when you're into the likes of the Vizier and the Rumble, whereas I was once upon a time, it would be playing into the Corki as well, but I do think some of his changes are come on through. It's made that a little less of a point.
Actually, I can check on GG actually, because you can tell on this with how much percentage is their magical and physical damage.
Oh, that's quite helpful.
So they're about 2/3 physical damage, and the rest of it is split between magic and free damage. There's not that much value onto the magic resist anymore, yeah.
He came through with his changes where before he used to be weirdly magic damage heavy for a champion.
Well, yeah, it's because it's passive used to convert your... Yeah, because then there was the many years now from like season 8 to whatever. Hang on, ultimate offside. Flash already blown, that's a problem.
Oh, Cube's in so much danger. Call the forward goal comes on through, and unfortunately Cube has answered the call. Do you want to buy some car insurance? Cube goes, no, please, not like this. But you've already answered the call. You're worth £3,000. Monkey coming on in, looking potentially to ult someone here. His character also goes to the sliding line and says, "Aha! I'm here to prove you're a fake insurance person. Get punished for taking fraudulent calls."
I can't believe, even in the modern day of esports, you cannot escape people trying to contact you about your car's extended warranty. Ends up being a 1-for-1 on top side as Karis, good teleport from him. WE, on the whole, they've respected and reacted to the map better than JDG. However, 3 gubs to JDG do mean that Scout on the bot side of the map has taken 2 plates and he's getting better cross map.
Exactly it, and Karis, good work there. How on earth has Monkey got 5 kills? Oh my god, this Skarner.
He's on an absolute tap, just responding to the map very, very well. He has been in the right place at the right time. 3 plates now, a piece between the mid laners, so Scout even in gold. With Karis gets himself up to his Archangel staff, we'll be upgrading that later as the tier gets stacked up. Dragon now spawning in 10 seconds. But the big thing for me is JDG, the players that they've taken, they haven't had a single clean win in the game yet.
No, they have not, and that's going to be slightly problematic, because then you look at Scarlet's gone, well, I've got 50 heart steel stacks at 13 minutes. What are you going to do about that one, man? There's missing. Will need to pop the ult, try and survive that way. Try and turn it around, Mantle comes on through, Change Corruption do come on down. Now Scout in a good position, but missing the side. Big shove between the Equalizer comes on onto missing. Flashed away. Scout now in danger, getting driven onto. Vampire got hit by the piercing arrow, I believe. Heart steel proc onto Scout, but not quite enough damage to follow up. Cube now potentially in danger with Paytick Flash going over the wall, and Cube tries to stand and deliver. Unfortunately, your barbecue has run out of gas.
Surprised that WE spent so much trying to kill the ult. Flash Alistair? It's a problem that they've occasionally ran into, over-engaging on the front line, and Pays really positioning well in these fights. Doesn't blow either summoner, manages to get some great damage, as you were saying, onto Vampire, and then at the end, onto Cube. But the problem from this play is a stylistic error, which I have seen coming through from Vampire over time, which is just engage on the first person in front of you. The Alistair with the flash and the ult was not valuable enough, and they used too many cooldowns to take the rest of the fight.
Splitting targets after, because then Scout missed the seismic shove, so Cube puts the Equalizer down on missing and Scout, and missing flashes out, and you gotta go, well, okay, so you haven't committed all to one target, you split it across multiple and got no one.
That's a lot of hard skill stacks that someone's been talking about, actually. For this one, again.
Yeah, he picked up 36 in that last fight.
Yeah, it's about 3 procs total. Arla, Karis is trying to kill the whole turret. Ult coming in from Arla.
Want to bring in a Grand Starfall? Yes, he does. Charge onto the turret. We'll try and get some damage down, but the Empress Divide does a good job of disengaging, and they get the turret. Monkey now coming on up as the Dragon was also secured. Sundisk now there. Watch for Monkey be able to drive forward. Does have the flash. Good look for that flash. And the Impale only hits on the shove, but that might be more than enough. Gets behind this Vampire. The Aegis comes on through and he dies. Can't find that shield vault to bring down the run. The back end of it. Arla is going to be drunk under the table potentially, but will not go down like his namesake, even if the pronunciation is different.
It's the first assist for Monkey, not a kill that time. But once again, JDG not respecting the power of the Skarner in this early game and not respecting how quickly WE can respond to a play. They're looking for, oh, we can maybe just get a 2v2 here, not realizing how quickly people can respond from WE. And this time it's Shun paying the price for it. Monkey, insane early game from him. My only caveat is just that JDG, while this has been happening, have been using the 3 grubs well and have been getting plates here and there, or had been before this point, before they fell off.
Skarner's got 123 heart steals back, just to let you know. Just a quick update again.
Yeah, and this is not an on-hit Varus, this is the poke Varus, so we'll be getting quite tanky. I wonder whether he could have put the ult over the minions to get a bit more wave to clear down and also hit the enemy champions. Maybe that could have helped them there. Couldn't quite do that, and the tower doesn't help them as much as I think they were predicting. Flashes for a potential double impale, only gets a single, but hey, that's you'll take that.
And Vampire doesn't quite go down with mid-shield vault. Can't quite connect with it, all the while we go back to his Herald. Monkey picks that one up. That is the feat to strength, because they've gotten the first 2 dragons alongside that Herald, so they put themselves in a fantastic position here to really snowball ahead of this game. Work from W in the early game with a composition I thought was going to have to come online a little later, I won't lie to you.
Yeah, the one item spike for this team can be pretty good, especially when you're playing an early game like this, when you're managing to shut down a little bit of the ball for someone like Arla. I say that. Actually, Arla's usually going for Cube. Cube's now 0-2 himself. Not bad for JDG. I mean, my worry is, and this has been the case with WE against a lot of other teams, their early games are good, but if they get towards late game team fighting, they're just not the same level of individual brawn and mechanical potential that some of these top teams have. Karis maybe caught out the side lane. No flash. Might have to ult in here.
First pick is Zia. Gets a good shove away. He's been pretty solid so far today as Karis, but where do you run right now? He's got a teleporting Ornn that's come up to enjoy his company, and it is Scout that picks up the kill in the 3v1.
And nice roams across there. Arla teleporting in for the play, and for W, they don't have grubs to push towers as quickly. Hayes does need to be a little careful. He knows that. He's just trying to wave clear as best he can. Herald now put in towards mid lane. He should be safe with coverage from the Pantheon ult.
Vampire off vision. Cube also coming. This could get very dicey. How aggressively do they want to play this? Missing also being there makes this interesting. Recalling is the Rel though. Big trouble though, throwing that. Was a 4-man collapse. Engage now onto Monkey, but I don't actually know whether the 3,000 HP Skarner is going down that easy. Scout's now come on over though, and he will actually fall. Good work from JDG, as Taeyun and Karis were back in base anyway. Apologies, Taeyun was a bit further down the lane, and I just blanked with his recall stopped.
The Herald drove into tower. Normally it's a bit of an escape vehicle. This time it's a hearse. They kill the Herald, knowing that the Skarner has no flash, immediately ping him with the Varusol afterwards, and he goes down in the extended play. So that's a shutdown. It's gold over towards Shun, and while JDG lose the tower, getting that Skarner off the board for a little bit is definitely a win for them.
Who picked up that kill? I think it was
It was
Paige.
Shun, I
Oh,
think
Shun.
it was.
Okay, well, he gets the shutdown, which will be very valuable to him. Actually brings him into a gold lead. Purely off that value, which is a big deal. Skarner as well, immediately on the reset. Monkey picks up the Unending Despair, which I'm sure he would have liked in this fight.
Yeah, so the Herald goes in, kills the tag, gets the recharge on the play here, and I think that's a misclick. He was out safe, he was behind the Herald, and then gets taken out of the Herald, Varusol hits, and Pace can just basically get through a 3-stack double set of abilities. While missing, yes, does take a lot of damage. There's no full engagement going through. Vampire's not at the plate. Obviously, you don't expect the fight to happen at that point.
And it's legal, yeah.
And, we lose the play. So Dragon coming up in a minute. Not quite there at the Muramana Fontaine. If he can complete that, only 30 stacks left. I don't think he can quite get to it in terms of the spawn itself. He would be soul point for W on Chemtech Rift.
How much he can get off this next wave. He can try and get through a few abilities here. Pays also around. He's got the Edge of Night completed. It's a little harder for him to be picked. He's done a good job staying alive so far this game. He could start the lane even if he didn't properly snowball fully in his advantage. Up about 500 gold, which is good news for him. But again, we are a little worried about this Varus into certain members that they start getting increasingly tanky.
Having said, one thing which will help with that is the fact that Scout has 2 items at this point. That is a huge core for the Talir, the Leandries, and the Saracen Brace. Dragon spawning now. JDG presumably want to stop the soul point. They're teleporting in both people on the top side. So Cube is here, Scout is here. JDG don't have great vision for now, though.
W being a bit slower here, they want to get Taeyun towards that Moramani because another wave out. I think he might have gotten it off that wave, or at least it'll be 5 or so stacks off. So he might come in mid-team fight. Here we go again.
Oh, wow, Blasco!
He's put Vampire in a difficult position. Has to charge away. They do get the Chains of Corruption, though, onto Monkey. Flash out himself. Arlen's gone forward. But now he's pretty deep, using the Searing Charge to buy some time as he looks to run away. Bella's breath is also burned. Missing, gone very deep. Going to look to make his will unbreakable. Headbutts his way out. Will lose his life for it, but Monkey is traded because the headbutt forced the Skarner way back into the enemy team. Not a bad trade, all things said and done.
I mean, if we don't have enough sponsors, if we could get a Monster Energy Blast Cone for rad plays like that, I would take that on Chemtech Rift. That was an insane Blast Cone. WE had no idea that the Alistair would get flung into their mist, and while Missing did go too deep afterwards, it's his play that starts the fight in JDG's favor. JDG will get the Dragon, they'll get another kill onto the Skarner, who's still worth a decent amount of gold, and WE, that was a moment where they would have liked to put strategic pressure on JDG by getting early Dragon stacking. They failed to do so.
So, let's have a look again, because this got wild. This Blasco throws the miles!
Like the double tank engage front line, hopping over the Rel Cube. Vampire's like, oh shit, gonna cast the Q at them, misses it because they fly over his head, and then Vampire doesn't get to play the team fights. That's one of the engaged threats down. Monkey is like, well, I am tanky frontliner. You realize how untanky you can be as a starter in some of these games. Sadly, you're okay for now, but you know, if you sit up there for long enough, Varus and the Talir will definitely cut through you.
Really good backstep from Page. The Scout nearly ended up with a triple impale, only ended up with a 1, and the Alistair just gets to cleanse it. One of the reasons he's often better into the Skarner the most.
Good poke onto Paris.
I remember when Varus used to be a thing into his ear. That's kind of why, guys.
Yeah, it took a Comet Spear as well. Missing does have ultimate, so it's harder to immediately chunk him out. That's Khan. I mean, everyone's just around here. We're not cross-mapping. We're just seeing if anyone makes a mistake.
Paris. A bit more damage than go. We've once again burned. Here comes the Weavers and JDG beginning to...
Oh, he's hopped over the wall!
He has gone over the wall, trying to get something, but does at least get some value. Ala has to flash back on out. Will get the Skarner. What about the turnaround damage? And they put a lot into killing the Skarner, and they lose their own jungler in trade. Taeyun now hopping on forward for his own orders. Misses the false bump, but does at least hit the rocket to bring Tae's spell shield down. Is that a jungler for a jungler?
I'm very surprised that's a 1-for-1. With the flick over the wall from the Talir onto the Skarner, I thought he'd be isolated out, but you can see there was some pretty good turnaround CC from WE. It's not like JDG are completely free to fling themselves into the enemy team. However, you know, we've been talking an awful lot about that Skarner, was the man who went down there. 1,000 gold lead in jungle now to Shun. It is massively turned around, I suppose, in terms of the individual impact on that. Shun was getting involved in kills early, but he's got so many shutdowns now, he's slingshotted ahead of the Scorpion.
Big deal. Again, it's not like Monkey's going to be complaining too much about his scoreline right now. Look, he's got a good heart. The heart still is stacking. He's got the second item. Your Skarner is fine at this point, but you do need to start getting some more gold onto this Azir, onto this Corki, onto this Rumble, who are at least at 2 items themselves. And in some ways, it almost feels like JDG should have been in this position 10 minutes ago. Being here at 23 minutes is a bit more worrying when you are into an Azir, Corki, champions that do like their items quite a lot.
Equalizer into the mid lane, Pace has a spell shield prop, but he just pops the Ghost Blade and runs off. Not sure about that, Cube.
Well, I suppose when you've got nothing else to play for, being a bit opportunistic with your ults, you've got the timer to do so. Get away with it this time around.
Scout and Shun so washed. I think they're having a good game so far on the whole. Shun, his early game, yes, had a little bit of an overdive here or there. But Scout on the other side, I think that his flicks have been very good. And this Talia may be the X factor which JDG need. We've seen the wall massively influence these fights. I think the best Talia players in the world use their ultimate like a scaffold for the fight. They'll pin people into the right place, try and separate teams. It's not just about turning up to a fight, it's just changing the very terrain you're fighting on.
Bit of terraforming. Scout clearing up that outside wave. JDG also looking to potentially counterpunch a WE go to find him.
He has flash, quite hard to get anything out of this.
Yeah.
And suddenly Vampire and Monkey quite far behind enemy lines. Cube is pushing topside, does have teleport if he wants to keep down. No objectives up as it stands. And remember, JDG, they have the 3 grubs. So whenever plays happen like this, where you kind of try and play some smoke and mirrors, JDG have that extra advantage to kill towers.
Here we go.
Hayes might get collapsed on again, missing over the wall.
Monkey's also coming. Karra's going to get caught on the wrong side of the weave as well. Vampire now also very deep. Flashes the headbutt engage, crashes down over the other side of it. Monkey throws out another evil, but now Vampire in danger before the recall comes on through. Shun jumps on forward with the shield bot into the seismic shove. And Talia Pantheon is a combo we have seen a few times before, and I wonder why.
Yeah, WE, they've really tried to catch up Hayes in the mid lane, and that is a good decision to make. But JDG are playing well defensively around the Varus, particularly with the spell shield and the Ghost Blade movement speed. It's been too hard to easily catch off. And then on the retreat, JDG are getting value. That will buy them the Atacant. It will likely buy them the Dragon. Well, maybe not the Dragon. Vampire will be alive for that again. But JDG at least getting an objective out of that last fight.
Atacant likely to go down here. Should we lose a bit of T-bar here? And Monkey's actually driving up. This could get a bit interesting. They've not managed to rush it fast enough.
Vampire's not here. This shouldn't be a big fight.
Might try and play for this potentially. Look to threaten, missing, will headbutt out. What about the play behind us? K-Unit and Karras on the flank. John's in danger. Needs to pop up with the 80 talking about the time Loyal comes on down. Karras then flash up back, and Scout is now in danger himself as is Paid. As Karras just flashes on in and murders the AD carry. Will trade his life for it, but I think he's happy enough with that.
Yeah, WE managed to call JDG's bluff. I think they thought they'd get the Atacant for free. Not the case. Karras doesn't get the clean execution onto Pace, which means that he will go down, but I think with 4 members, I think actually with the Azir dying, I don't think they can Baron. If the Azir was alive, it would be a lot of DPS. They're going to try anyway. Might be rough with Shen coming back up with ults.
They have a 2-item Rumble, a 2-item Corki. I think they can do a fair amount here. We'll see exactly how quick
Oh no, it's going to go down.
Yeah.
It's going to be quicker than I thought it was. So, JDG, get the Atacant, but lose the fight and lose the back.
Where is everyone else? Shun does have Grand Starfall, but I don't think he'll be here quite in time, unfortunately for him. Even with his spawning now, he is just dead. He can look for it potentially on the reset, but I think it is just going to be a few seconds too late.
So WE immediately jump ahead in gold. So this is the play which comes after the Atacant, where Pace gets out of the Impale and does a really good job of playing around Karras. I actually think Scout and Pace do a really good job for the position they're in. They just brought into a fight where they were flanked, and the immobile carries of the Talia and the Varus couldn't really escape the damage coming in from WE. The problem with WE, they don't have backline access. That's your way to get it, get a random flank.
Do just that, they get some really important flashes off as well. That Scout flash down, Pace flash down, and yes, they got the Atacant, but it's so damn slow. They've all got punished. Vampire though, using half his HP bar before the Dragon Fight is problematic. Monkey flashing before trying to get off the Scout.
Monkey.
But still gets the Impale on top of the Equalizer. It kind of works. It's a bit janky, but the damage is done. They will bring down the Skarner, but I think the damage after looking pretty problematic. And Pace also dies when we had no flash. Scout though, keeping himself alive. KU Valkyrieing forward. Arla just above something the last auto. Flashes on forward with the Gatling gun rolling. As Shun needs to back away the Aegis assault and will just about survive. Make it the retreat as WE find themselves a hell hell of a lot of value. He's still going. Another Valkyrie forces the flash out of Shun.
Yeah, W are doing it. They get themselves the dragon. They get a huge fight, and JDG are not really managing to protect their backline in the way that they would have liked. In that play, Missing didn't have ult. It came up a couple of seconds after he went down. A huge mistake from the JDG squad to not wait for that ultimate from Alistar.
Q flashes over the wall, but now he's caught between the base gates and all of JDG. He's not quite headbutted over the wall. Then he gets the Carries are taken here. They're saying you can't have our top laner for free. And they'll bring down Shun is now Missing, goes down as well. This Corki is a menace.
Disaster class from Shun and Missing in the last couple of minutes. They try and find the free pick onto Cube without realizing once again that W are just faster to the play than them. But the Covenant and Halo, they've always been faster this game. Dragon will finally go down, and WWE will find themselves not just with a 6,000 gold lead, but also soul points.
Hey, he's gone to talk to the Prophets, and he's asked, what would you have your AD carry do? And it turns out carry a few team fights has been the answer. Has been picked up an Immortal Shield Bow. Yeah, Corki.
Pace might get jumped on by Vampire. Here's the Hex Flash over all there is. What's the follow-up? Ah, misses the crash down.
The follow-up is a failed encore, basically. Like, oops.
We'll find a pick onto the AD carry. Were it so easy. Paze, on the whole, I think Paze has been having a really good time of things on the Varus. It's just the rest, his front line is not really doing the damage, it's doing the job of being tanky and keeping the players off them that they've needed to do. I believe that was a smite away by Monkey getting the team red buff.
Worth noting, by the way, W had Baron buff this entire time. They got a 5k Baron power play, got an inhibitor off that as well.
Yeah. JDG, I think, tried to pull them away from the lanes and just said, well, let's fight so you don't get value out of it. JDG, though, I mean, for a team which I think has been typically quite good at team fighting throughout this split, that has been their big downfall. They've lost in those team fights, opening up. The team fight setup has been very poor for them, allowing flanks very, very easily against them. Missing now on a grand old journey. Karras pushing up in top lane. I mean, Missing does.
In action.
I mean, Karras has no flash. Missing does. Has ult up in 10. I mean, if they can get Karras for free, does he have a Seekers? I don't think he did.
It's coming. Grand Starfall, TP's in. They want this. Missing's about to make his move. Eyes on it. Thank you, observers, for that wonderful little bit of vision document. They still don't see the cow. Call the voice going to be on Karras. Going to go golden off the flash headbutt. They're going to get some value down. Shuffled away. Buying a lot of time. Karras survives the play. The match is all near fail. It's absolute warfare out here, and everything is put to the flame. They are torched. JDG's flank angle collapses under their own hubris.
The Zhonya's is a drop of gold dust for WE as they teamfight their way to a Game 1 victory.
And Karras just TP'd into the base to get that value. My go! They'll get Ala as well. The first pickers here will end 7-2. You come for the king. You come for the Emperor. You best not miss.
JDG on their home soil in their own home arena of Beijing are now down the first game in the series. WE, a team which I don't think many people expected grand aspirations of. But if they were to take a series here against JDG, I don't think people will be forgetting this team too quickly.
How is it every time we think, it's as far as WE go? It's as far as, say, an FPX go. Of course, they did end falling the other day, but they always surprise us one more time.
Yeah. Now, I suppose there is the argument to say that, for me, WE, they are at their strongest in the first games of the series. I do think that they are more reliant on certain small champion pools, and that may be something which hurts them later into the series that we go. But WE taking the first game here may extend things further than JDG would have wanted.
Well, that was fun.
Was.
Yeah. That's also fine. Zoom. Hello, folks. How are you all doing? It is I, Initialise. Over here is Nymaera. We are here to bring you League of Legends action. That's the word I was looking for. In the form LPL content here on twitch.tv/Nymaera_. We're also live on the YouTube of Nymaera. Also live on Anivia's YouTube as well. It's a pleasure to see you all here, enjoying some really fun League of Legends. I'm glad we've actually had a fun series so far. I think we might be getting a couple games here, which should be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I think that WE they are at their strongest in the first games of the draft. I'm trying to think what they really used that was important to them. I think the Skarner and the Rel, obviously two big picks for them. Top side, I mean, the rest of the picks though, I mean, Corki, I wouldn't say that's like Taeyun needs it. I think the Karras is it. I would say that I prefer his Talia and his Rise. suppose that's one thing. I think that actually, on one side of it, I think JDG actually picked a lot of champions which WE would like to be using later in the draft. The fact that they're also out of the pool could be quite impactful.
Indeed it will be. Alex, I'm going to make some coffees. I'm going to go run to the bathroom quickly as well. Are you okay to look after chat by yourself? I know it's a hard task with these reprobates, a lot of them.
Yeah, we'll wait until highlights come through, and then we'll play some words on stream afterwards. No, not yet. I will get hydrated energy, thank you. But yeah, I mean, you look at JDG's champions, almost all of them are also WE's kind of top string of champions too. 3 streams with the retrobates in chat. Welcome, Lord Tentai. Welcome in. Cheap later into the game got some great equalizers down too. JDG just dying generally. Yeah, it's not the best performance from them. I actually did do a VOD review of that duo. I don't know whether it's still on my. I think it should still be on my stream highlights. But yeah, no. In fact. Oh wait, did I? I definitely did review it. I'm just trying to remember if I actually put it into a video. Because I talked in depth about how Faker used the blown flash of caps at level 1 to win the game in the Ari Talia matchup. It was really good. No, Faker's Ari in that game 5 was insanely good. This needs a post-match thread. Comments will be spicy. Yeah, LPL post-match threads. They've been weird this year, because you've got like the regular trolls. I have most of them blocked now, but like there's just like the LPL community is so split. There's a bunch of people who just think completely opposite opinions, and they just die hard on those opinions. It leads to a very unique dynamic. How the hell did this fight work out? I mean, the front line stacking up and dying and missing, not having his ult. Missing his ult. It's a very different story, I suppose. By the way, if you don't see a post-match thread, you can just post it yourself. Die-hard opinions on the internet? Yeah. I mean, it happens, really. I'm definitely someone who does occasionally get tunneled into singular comments, but sometimes it's nice to, like, confront comments which you think are, like, not great. What is your favorite type of ham? Harold ham. Harold ham hand. That's my favorite. Okay, so we'll wait until MVP. Not the yellow from the egg. Yeah, I know that's an idiom in German, I just can't remember what it is. I thought it was about language, not... Can you guess why I asked if I could request that specific game? Was there a Belveth in that game? JDG can 2-0 BLG twice, beat anyone's legend, and lose against this team? Yes, they can. Look, JDG, like, this is the worry, like, who tweeted this at me? Someone did. I wonder, I think it was someone like Rafa, because Rafa's like a big JDG fan right now. There's a lot of people, I think on LPL English, they're really fond of Shun. Because Mizal's there, and Mizal's like a huge Shun fan. By the way, he has I took a very cute picture of him and Shun. Like, I appreciate that kind of connection to a player. However, this has led them to believe that JDG are like the best team in the LPL at points. And I'm like, my dude, they're good. They do also randomly go on like 3-game loss streaks. Paris, yeah, he was awesome. Okay, let's go play some Words of Friends after this. Wait, that was the last Tier 1 Belveth game? Damn. I remember Eligoya playing a lot of it around 2023. Was it 23? Are there any older LPL game series that you rewatch? Yeah, so when it comes around to like 80, you know the LoL World Championship channel? I watch that because it shows a lot of the regional finals. So like, I'll watch back some of those series. I don't watch as much Historic League as I used to because I just don't have as much time. Let me do that thing where I play some words on stream.
Ain't no mountain high, ain't no valley low. Baby, there ain't no mountain high enough. Ain't no river wide enough to keep me from getting to you.
买3C 数码就上京东，国补叠加也就换新4折起。买手机上京东，享国补加倍补低至5折购机；买电脑上京东，国补叠加也就换新低至5折起。买数码上京东，爆款至高24期免息。电竞键鼠3重补贴，至高优惠50%。打开京东搜赛事预测，赢1000元耳机。京东。
What do I think of top esports right now after that BLG match? Well, I think it tells us more about BLG than them, because BLG just completely shut them out of that game, that series. It was not close. Wow, that was quick. What the hell? Oh, I need to run some others. These two as well. I already got those.
我觉得今天输掉比赛很遗憾嘛，然后就是大家的可能对线出了点问题，然后还有就是我们打团，就是团前的处理吧，也做的也没有特别好，就是哪怕第二把优势了，我们也是比对面慢落位的，我觉得后续做好吧。然后除了游戏内的话，我就希望大家心态调整好吧，就是还是就是以正常的心态去打比赛，不要操作变形啊或者怎么样的，就是不要怕吧。 我觉得京东第2赛段打得挺好的吧，然后就是很强，然后再次面临他们的话，我觉得就是主要看我野区吧，然后野区再打好一点。 我觉得勋是一个英雄池很深的选手吧，然后打的最近也很好，然后我觉得就是在 BP 上要多想一下吧，
JDG go
因为就
against
是我
WE,
们记得
that's
我
just
上次被他
historic
的玩位
collapse
被
for
他
them.
先决 counter 了嘛，然后没有想到，
I hate
下次就多注意一下吧。
Awesome, rough, irritating, gets everywhere. We won game 1, Team WE won game 1.
Aaron gives coffee.
Section.
He's squeeze on
Saying
him.
like if JDG somehow lose to
Oh, sorry about that.
oh, it might actually just it was you. Whatever.
It was my fault.
Yeah.
Me
But
fault,
yeah, if JDG go out to WE, that is like historic collapse. Seed
Yeah.
It's not, you know, funnily enough, not the first time that Scout has had this, by the way. The Scout on LNG, I want to say.
Before
No,
they
no,
had
it
the
would.
World
So,
Run,
so,
yeah.
so last summer, LNG were top 2, I want to say, and they were the first, they were the first team with the first round with seeded into the double elimination that had lost both their series immediately
Oh
afterwards.
yes, they did, didn't they? It was a whole thing.
It was like really rough.
Taking photos for socials, guys. That's where the pause came in.
Nice.
But that was something in my Discord now, guys, and on Instagram. Incredible.
That LNG team was not it. I liked that LNG team. Well, no, which LNG team? I really liked 23 LNG. I thought that was really cool. When Tarzan joined, it was. Yeah, when Tarzan was there, it was really insane. When Weiwei came after, it took them a long time to figure out how they wanted to play. Remember, they still went 3-0 in Swiss stage at Worlds. And then they kind of got screwed by not getting to practice on the patch, and then, was it T1 first round? No, wait, who were they against first round? Because they bombed out, right? Who did they go against in first round? Oh, they got 3-1 by Weibo. Yeah. Yep. Yep, Xiaohu did it again.
Xiaohu. And that was obviously on the run where people were like, no, surely not again. Xiaohu's been awful this split. He can't win now, right? But
Yeah.
and yet.
Things like that happen. And look, Scout towards the end of summer tends to pick up really, really well. And he's a guy that kind of scales throughout the season as he learns more and more about the patches and the version of the game that he's on. Getting to this second round, JDG banned out Ezreal Jin. First round, I believe it was. In the first draft, W still banning away Shin's Vi. Lister banned away too. So Jin's left open this time. JDG, what do they consider to be best available picks? I mean, stuff like Gwen is available. You could go towards that Gwen. JDG were actually banning away the Gwen, then still picking the Jax anyway, not liking the matchup despite what many people enjoy. There's stuff like Ryze available, which Karis will absolutely eat up, so I think that's a decent first pick. And you do take it away. So Karis is now down, actually, for Talia and the Ryze. He's running out of big global playmakers. He might go towards something like an Ahri, but there's no Vi to pair that up with. JDG, I think at least understanding their opponents here, as well as picking in something so good for themselves.
Yeah. I'm going to go towards the Kai'Sa early, because again, remember last game, Taeyun had to tank a lot of AD carry bans, being, look, I just want to deal with that this time around, I'm going to early pick this. It's a global away from pace, he was obviously a big Kai'Sa player, you can match things like the Ryze somewhat with your own global range. I
can sort of see the thought process here, even if it is a little early to be blind to picking a Kai'Sa.
Also, I do like Kai'Sa with like Nautilus, Wukong into stuff like the Rise, because the Rise is fairly tanky, but also quite low range. Not tanky enough to survive that kind of combo, and not long range enough to stop it getting onto you easily. So the Wukong comes in for Monkey, and that's a very dangerous pick to give over. JDG may well go towards the Gwen. That does potentially open up something like a Galio coming in for WE against the double AP solo laners. Shun, now I'm interested to see what he goes towards. Could go towards something like a Neferi. Could also go Shinzao here as well. That also wouldn't be bad. In fact, I prefer the Shinzao. It gives you a bit more early presence on the map. And I think you have to lock that now if you're going to. There it is. WE, do you lock Nautilus now, or think that's going to go away? Cube is a Jax player. In fact, I remember... In fact, the first series I ever cast with in the LPL was Rare Atom versus LGD, I believe it was, and Cube was on at Rare Atom at that point. He was a very good Jax player. Cube's Jax, one of the very first player champion combos I ever cast. Decent matchup into the Gwen, good matchup into the Gwen even. It's probably the best one, besides maybe something like the Jace. But they will potentially have now Nautilus banned away. Maybe Leona as well, whatever the other engaged supports are.
Big team fight circles right now for WE. Also, like JDG are exactly complaining, because again, the Rumble got picked last time. They get the Gwen this time. It does feel like, for all that she's dropped a little in power, she's still very, very strong. Gwen is still one of our premier carry options in the top side. You've got your double Thunderdome, so I think both teams relatively happy with where they're going. And the scaling, relatively matched. Even the WE, I think, are coming online slightly later.
Well, JDG not having the Zyra or the Zeri, harder for them to play defensively against the melee dive range composition that WE have right now. JDG, they banned away the Galio, which we said was quite powerful, into the double AP solo laners. I think they should ban away Nautilus potentially now, unless there's a matchup in mid lane they want to get rid of for Karis. Just take away something that allows the fight to start quickly. The Rakan over the Nautilus, interestingly.
That is something a bit unusual, actually. You're right.
Taeyeon, Vampire, able to lock in something like the Nautilus now. Do they really save it? I mean, I guess they have the mid lane counter picks. They can use that and save support counter pick afterwards. But what happens now if Missing locks in the Nautilus? I think that it makes it a little harder for Vampire to figure out what he's going to do as engage support for the Kai'Sa. Hayes needs to find something which is more safe though. The Lucian, yeah, the Lucian's not a bad pick here actually on the whole. Can be more mobile to escape some of this potential, and the Braum does stop some of the melee supports getting value. That being said, it doesn't stop a Counter-Strike, it doesn't stop a Cyclone. Nautilus last pick for Vampire. Fairly easy slam home here. I walk away from this feeling like WE have the better draft. I think that as long as someone lands CC onto the Lucian, whether that's a flash Counter-Strike or a Cyclone, Hayes will die. JDG must have immaculate vision control. Good early lanes potentially too to stop WE doing what they did last game. Getting some early advantages, putting down better vision before the fights, and then managing to close the distance on the backline where JDG's frontline failed to protect them. If WE get vision and they manage to find any CC onto the Rise or onto the Lucian, pretty sure that Taeyeon flies in or Karis flies in and finishes up the job. WE, good composition by my eyes.
Do of course have that ability to maybe mitigate some of the CC by throwing down the Thunderdomes, trying to manage the Shinzao and the Jax that way, but again, reminded, Jax was often blicked into things like the Gwen and the Shinzao, particularly when Gwen was first released, because you could try and fight in their arenas and come out, if not on top, then at least with a little bit more grit to you than some other champions. Still, Hayes on that Lucian could be very scary, and between those double front lines, between that temporary as though they may be, alongside the Braum Shoot, you've got some tools to keep Hayes alive. It's just, as Al noted, it ain't going to be that easy when there are so many angles to defend from.
Certainly. So JDG, we've had issues with their draft. CV Max left the organization. They've changed coaches. It hasn't necessarily changed their drafts. And this team, we know they're streaky. 3-0, massive win streaks, 3-0 loss streaks in series, multiple times in Group Ascent. They are still coming in here. Huge overdogs to WE, who are the underdogs, make no mistake. But down a game with JDG just losing to Weibo as well, they will be sweating now.
They really will be. It's very tricky indeed. WE actually in a very good spot here to push us to series point and really make JDG's life very difficult. Of course, Scout on the Rise, nothing to sniff out. Ale on the Gwen. We know that this guy can definitely carry on that front. Or if we go, let the mightiest voices in the world yell in favor of their teams.
来到英雄联盟。敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
You can tell which chat leader is close to the microphone because obviously WE's guys very much on the other side of the arena hearing the echo. With
Bless you.
Thank you very much.
Gesundheit.
Oh no, it's coming again.
Gesundheit. Sam, have you taken your antihistamines?
I've not. Wow. Turned around on me.
No, I do actually like. Hay fever is a thing which I've had for many years, and every time I sneeze, my family just says, "Yo, have you taken your pills?" Doesn't matter if I have or haven't. It's just a habit over a lifetime at this point. So
I also know it winds Alex up just a bit, and
yeah,
therefore it makes me smile.
No, not just a bit, a good amount.
I know, but that's precisely why I do it. You understand this, correct?
Worth noting as well, we'll just point this out, we've seen this multiple times in the recent patches. We do see a lot more of the spellbook coming in from the Braum, with less of the Guardian nowadays. It gives you ability to get teleport for the first time you go back to lane. It allows you to get exhaust instead of heal for some fights as well, which can be quite important. Even going towards something like a cleanse can be quite big against the likes of the Ari Charm in some games. Does stop you having the same crazy protection potential that Braum can have. I wonder if that's the mistake going against a triple melee dive combo, just trying to get his hands on the Lucian.
Arla's actually gone towards the Ignite here. Some of you just mentioned that, but worth saying, they have gone for that Ignite here on Gwen. Wanting a bit more power in that 1v1 moment. Just feel like Gwen's have started to go back towards things like the Flash over any of the fancier summoner spells, so to speak. We are starting to see how occasionally had things like the Ignite.
So that is very matchup dependent. From what I was speaking to a lot of top laners about this between Orame, Finn, and the guys which they have on LEC. We have a lot of top laners there right now. Scout could trade there with Terrace actually. But the thing about the Gwen into the Jax is that it's such a trade heavy matchup, you need the Ignites. Most matchups you will take the Flash, but if it's a very tight 1v1, you'll go for that Ignite. And sometimes against a Rumble, you'll actually take the Exhaust instead because it allows you to chase him down for the follow-up auto attacks, even through his E.
And we started seeing Rumbles then run Phase Rush to manage the exhaust slow, which is crazy.
So that's kind of like the arms race on the top side. There was also a very fun set of results like that. Going into a Braum shield, not always the best thing ever. It takes a decent chunk back. He lands from Pace, gets the pass the attack. Do that, the Lucian Braum coming back. Honestly, Lucian Braum's
OG lane.
It was a thing in season 4 exactly, and then it just kind of disappeared for years and years. And Solly, thank you so much for the resub, by the way. Of course, that's awful. A lot of difference to us. I'll stop and recall. By the way this matchup goes is basically Jax never wants Gwen to get access to the wave if at all possible, because if you get the Q4, it sucks like this. So you try and trade. Trying to ignore as much of that Q4 as possible, the full stack on the...
A snip must only be a snip and not a snip.
Exactly. If it goes up to the full amount, it's very hard for the Jax to trade back onto it, especially matchups like this with the Ignite. It's actually threatening kill threat here now. Monkey's coming up. Flash Bonk would be able to kill Shin going into the topside river. The Shinzao wins these early trades.
Monkey needs to be very wary about what he uses. Nice ward there, appropriately aware things could get interesting. Scout and Kara thinking about moving towards you as Scout comes on in. But good warrior trickster clone actually makes sure that the...
Needs to be afraid of a charm, 2v2.
Outside, Tayu not quite stunned up, trying to step on forwards, buy some time, but the pattern perhaps it comes on down, missing. Also pretty low here, flashing forward from Vampire. Will get the heal out of missing.
Teo knew that the Braum passive was going off. Did any summoners get blown topside? No. Monkey ends up securing the crab. Ala, he's not in a great spot here, actually. Monkey could go in for an early kill. They haven't tracked Monkey that well here, actually. Ala's in danger.
He's going to back enough off the wave, and Monkey not seeing a particular angle in there will not go in.
But he needs help with this wave state. Like, this is slowly pushing in. He doesn't have the HP. He can teleport back in, but his base was a little later, so he'll lose half a wave of XP and gold, which is a bit annoying there for Ala. JDG, once again, I don't think they've had the best read on the early plays. No. WE have been one of our better early game teams in the LPL, but JDG misreading the map quite badly here against WE.
It's been a little problematic, I think that's fair to say. Pace doing his best to order some of those waves down, and that can be a bit problematic here as WE, again, if they get to 2 items with this comp, like, oh boy, things get quite scary.
Second kick out of the brush, doesn't shield just yet.
Missing needs to back away, throws up the Unbreakable, but he looks a little breakable to me. I'm not going to lie, Pace will at least give him a second shot, possibly a third and fourth as things go. Shun now coming on down, but so is Monkey here, both junglers matching.
The Cookie really helping missing out there because he's on low HP, gives you even more healing. It doesn't have Guardian, doesn't have something like the heal. See that Vampire's using a lot of his mana now to push in the last of this wave, and it's actually Pays who's missing and standing behind Pays this time, actually, because they're afraid of that next hook.
What champion would the Cookie Monster play in order to get the most cookies?
Nunu?
Nunu? Yeah, true.
I'm sorry, Sam, he has grungy Nunu as like the that's not the Cookie Monster, that's like the dude in the...
Is there does Morgana have that one tray with the burning cookies?
Yes, that's true. Yes.
Baker one.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
That and all the cookies.
Nice trade there from Scout. I'm actually, you know, this is... I know that Ari is technically okay into Ryze. Ryze is like my bogey matchup in mid lane.
Why is
when
that?
I play, I don't know. I just can't hit skill shots on the
Blue
guy.
man's scary.
The blue man walks up to you like, aha, he'll step back. Ryze never steps backwards. He just always steps forwards into it. I'm like, oh, damn, he's got into like mid range and he can start actually doing way more damage than I can possibly do on my champion.
Just yells really loud. When do we get like a JoJo skin for a ride?
Oh, pop topside. Monkey's going to be here first potentially.
Set to work with. Cube forced to flash there. Ow, that sucks. Still the ignite on Ola, by the way.
I didn't even use it. Oh, even tag set it back in there, so Q can't even walk up to the wave now. That's a problem. Wave can get frozen without the teleport. In fact, what might need to happen is WWE might need to recall. They'll spot him out with a sweep and out. They don't actually. Oh, Cube!
Oh boy, and the snap, no, quite enough. The ignite does the work anyway. The 3 talent strike knockup comes on down, and Monkey see, Monkey don't.
I mean, I guess it's just like, we talked about the whole like 100 men versus 1 gorilla. It turns out 2 JDG members is enough versus a Wukong to win this one fight. It's a little bit more even than the gorilla challenge. Hook lands very deep there, but it's pulled a vampire out of position a little bit.
I'll tell you, can't get the Acadian Rain through the Unbreakable. So ends up being a bit even. Now Paige gets the ability to relentless pursuit forward.
Realm
That's
Warp.
appropriate. Realm Warp now coming on down. The Iron Blaze already landed. To flash on forward. Rune Prison comes on down, and Taeyu is arrested by the strong arm of Braum's Law.
Good use of the global there from Scout, and the early game starts to fall apart for WE now. Earlier into the first game, JDG hard forced onto bot lane, but it was an even trade. They'll be trading 1 for 1. And then WE managed to, of course, team fight much better later into the game. Now, it's a 2,000 gold lead, 1.5k, to JDG, and that lead is spread across the map, particularly with the Gwen getting 2 kills. That is a horror story for WE, because I do think they have ways to deal with the Lucian. They don't have nearly as many tools to deal with a fed Gwen.
It's very tricky, and this is them trying to help shove that wave out, and Shun just didn't get spotted. The sweep and switched over.
And Counter-Strike is good for many things, doesn't stop an ignite, so that gives the full damage, and Monkey loses his top laner. And of course, the reason this is possible is because that last needlework tagged Cube in the brush. The last stack of it, he walked up trying to breed for a little bit of XP. It's a game of inches sometimes, and JDG they measure in they measured in their favor. Grub's now started.
You're now looking at a Gwen with already steel caps. Could be very annoying to manage in the 1v1. Grub's still going to be started by W, as you said.
Yeah,
and I don't think we're seeing that much contest right now.
Yeah, Scout doesn't have teleport, so he's not moving now. Instead, getting his own plate. If they could get... I'm not leaving the Wolf of bot lane, as he is currently right now.
TP up again now, so maybe I suppose they could have come over, but I think they're happy enough with not having this out of just give
Dude,
it over.
could you imagine, like, instead of skins for champions, skins for items, you have, like, tier items and Rod of Ages, which are like basically a stock market going. Well, Mejo should be a real stock market actually, but like all of the stacking items, the wolf.
I genuinely think there are also, like, if you wanted to do a new ultimate skin, that might not be a bad idea. Just like, imagine like Mundo, but like he buys like silly items that are like business related.
I would actually play a game mode which is entirely joke items.
Yeah.
You know, like the spatula and stuff like that. Just things which are just like completely not okay.
Evelyn would not be allowed to have a skin like that.
No, her items would be very
considering the
questionable.
line she says about Void Staff alone.
Yeah, and in other languages it is much less.
But Italian voiceover on Dragons apparently is quite racy.
I'll use the W to stay safe on the tower here. On the whole, I do quite like Ari into Gwen, by the way. You often have good ways to disengage as long as you... It's kind of like the Fizz conundrum for those Ari players who played against the Fizz matchup. A lot of people don't like playing against Fizz when they're newer Ari players, but until you learn, you just never cast Charm until he casts his E. You just never let him hop over the one skill, which is stop and going all in. Same kind of thing with the Ari versus the Gwen. You try and force out the W without using your Charm, and you use that to keep yourself safe afterwards. Karis not going towards his global champions this series so far, playing the Azir and then the Ahri, much more about his own mobility, his own individual playmaking power, rather than kind of turning up on someone else's screen. In this game, decent draft for an Ari to get some good damage down, but losing the early kills of the game to JDG do not make your job easier.
You will hit a point where it becomes a lot harder because your easy access charm targets have got some responses to you.
So there's a friend of mine, an Ari main in chat as well, who's talking about like, oh, but Zed's worse than Fizz as well. The thing is, I also like playing against Zed because the more I've played that matchup, and Zed being like one of my other top 3, you just again hold your charm for when he ults you, you just charm behind you. That hook, but doesn't quite find the target. But again, most like matchups for like skill shot reliant champions like the Syndra, like the Ari, Lux with her Q, a lot of the time is if they dodge this, do I die? And that can be the case with stuff like the Gwen if she presses the W on it, or counter strike into something, or like riposte counter strike to breathe. That's a big fight into mid lane. Now what's
Into the dredge line, and unfortunately, you're in a dredge line world, living in a, well, bot lane dive world, and he dies a horrible death. Pays nicely.
I was too busy yapping about skill shots to remember, oh yeah, by the way, macro is happening. Good kill onto the mid lane there. We did say that they have good tools to kill the Lucian. We'll do that. 3 grubs will help them pick up 2 quick plates.
I tried to go for the east side girl, westbound world, whatever it is. I forget where.
Shun stops a recall. Shun. Oh, Tame's gonna flash. That's a problem.
Tame's gonna end up getting knocked into the air multiple times. The wind becomes lightning and spikes the Kai'Sa into the dirt.
What? Okay, WWE were meant to be the team which are killing the AD carry on midway. Taeyun dying there because of a poor recall is really against the composition in this point in the game. JDG pick up an easy kill, which evens up the kill for kill on AD carry.
Also messed Monkey, because that's like his whole quadrant gone off. That's Kai'Sa took a turret shot, a bit awkward for him.
And again, that is the whole using your charm onto the W. That can be really problematic. Karis taking aggro is saying keep under turret, doesn't have ult, but does have flash. With the wave down, it's not that big of an Arla.
He dodges one of the needles, and it'll be ult for ult in the end.
Arla still had the ignite as well. And Errant's Q could have taken Karis down there. Karis will get himself a level up and a little bit of a heal. Gets a heal from his passive there as well, I believe. People forget that also, you know, you kill 9 minions, you do get a mini heal. It's mainly on the champions when you know.
Ari's a ring wraith confirmed. One of the 9.
9 minions were given to the
That's what the Dark Seal is. It's the Ring of Power.
Well, okay. I have made that joke before.
Yeah.
I've also thought it would be very funny. It would be really creepy. But if you asked people in advance, it'd be funny. Where if you went around to like at a convention and you find people, you know, like dressed as Ari, and you like bring out a ring box, go down on one knee. Would you stack my seal? Throw them up into top side, try to catch out Key and flashes away.
There's probably some content in that to go around like, yep.
Proposing to Ari cosplayers to what accepts me. Okay, the more socially acceptable version would be carrying around a Medjay's and getting people to sign the Medjay's. Yeah. I should do that at some point, actually. That should be like my autograph book. I should do that for League of Legends.
That's very true.
So if anyone, hang on, Arla doesn't have, well, he isn't bringing a flash. Where's his W? He might need it. Monkey's run over.
Turn to Monkey. Out comes the death charge. There's some hallowed mist, and Arla is safe on sanctified ground for a moment or two. We'll try and skip the flash away, but there's a charm waiting, and Gwen can't wait to meet her hero.
JDG not tracking the map very well. Another time in this series where they've been collapsed on unexpectedly onto Arla's side of the map. He's 1,000 gold ahead. You would have felt they want to be playing around the fed Gwen, but they don't see that in advance. And now with the 3 grubs, Ari will be able to push in for potentially another plate, maybe 2, onto bot lane. JDG farming up all waves at once. They're getting good minions out of this, but a little concerning that they've now let Arla die multiple times on weak side in this series, which felt they were avoidable.
Well, to the tier 1 bot side we go. WE whack some of those down and should actually get first turret off, which is good news for them. We're going to see that traded, so that's pretty good news. Karis gets a lot of that gold in the plates. TP towards that bot side, charm for that last minion. Good start there. It's the RE now up 10 CS. Gold in a good spot in this game. I need to see him buy a Dark Seal, otherwise they can't propose to anybody else.
Yeah, particularly in games like this, you do need the extra amount of damage to get kills before the Braum gets into position and they can turn things around. Resets coming through, Dragon coming onto the table. First item for everyone except top laners who've put a little more money into their boots instead. It'll be second Dragon over towards JDG. W would not like to see those Dragons get stacked up.
What kind of boost they buy? They like Chanel.
Yeah, you know, like Luke Skywalker in Return of the Jedi when he has his Chanel boots. Like those are the ones I'm talking about.
Yeah.
By the way, like that's something Star Wars got right. The boots look really cool. Like they're like the riding boots, which basically what it was, but like. I'm just saying,
cool.
If it was more socially acceptable,
you would probably suit riding boots.
Yeah, I already have an outfit which looks kind of Han Solo-like. I've got that one light jacket I wear on the LEC sometimes. I've thought about it, Sam. I've thought about it. Maybe when I get a big shape paycheck and I don't have, like, you know, bills to pay. Harold started up. Would be feats of strength for JDG. They are one objective marker after that. Are even in gold completely WWE, despite the fact that they were quite far ahead earlier into the game. They've let that slip just a little bit. Karras getting more gold from side lanes. Hex skates over from Vampire, who's spotted though, and he hooks into the wall!
Okay, we get to walk away.
Half HP. That could have been so much worse. Gets the half the cooldown back as well. Missing. Has the successful opposition. Doesn't put the shield up just yet. Doesn't need to. Teleport into the Gwen.
50% success rate, but Vampire is overstaying to flash away, put the depth charge down. Paige somehow is on a bit of an awkward spot, and in comes Taeyu following up on Monkey's Cyclone. They bring down the Lucian. We said they'd have a little way to get a hold of it. Taeyu has to flash away. Monkey now in danger himself, getting stacked up on the Brawl passive. All the while in the river, Shun gets a hold of Vampire, stakes him with the spear. I suppose that'll do as an improvised way to get to the heart. Monkey goes down the Wukong, nothing left to do. Taeyu now in danger, got nowhere to go. They all went so deep for Paige, and they're regretting it now as Karras needs to run very fast. Flee, little fox, flee! As Gwen gets the kill.
Run for your lives! As they all go down, a 5-for-1. As this is exactly what we mentioned earlier into the game. Turns out we know what we're talking about sometimes. WWE have the tools to reach the Lucian. Do they have the tools to deal with a fed Gwen or fed Shinzao in this case too?
9.
9. No, they do not. WWE, they dive very heavily, and we'll see that in the replay here. As you know, they go onto the Brawl. Again, this is the problem with Vampire. Why would you go onto the person with the shield? Already lost half his HP. That means they don't have the best engage. Monkey luckily picks up some of the pieces. If they don't manage to get onto Paige, this fight is even worse than it was. Somehow, while this is happening, suddenly you have a Gwen who's managed to force Cube out of the play, and they can't take fights on both ends. The engage from Vampire at the start of that, losing so much HP, really hurting their ability to swing through the fights.
Karras only landed a card for missing. It's not on the shoot, it's not on the scout. Someone who would be really valuable to pick up, and then the extended plays gets really ugly. And yes, of course, the Lucian will be prime target, but because you've got other people to pick up the pieces, you can kind of just deal with the fact that, look, Paige, you're going to have a tough game, but it's okay.
Harold was just killed by Shun there just as we came out of replay, so they do get themselves the feats of strength, and that will immediately kill the mid lane turret. In fact, is he going to just summon it and ride it into the mid lane turret, get a little bit of quick journey in there? Doesn't actually need this to kill the turret completely. Loses half of the HP, a bit of a wasted charge there. Would have been fine anyway. Going to charge the inner one for good luck.
He does that. Pulls away. Get that door coming on up. Makes it a bit problematic.
That's half his HP again. You can't afford to lose that kind of HP. Going again. Why are we going on the Braum?
We'll try and find that when it becomes lightning. Monkey trying to back on out there, but again they went on the Braum and missing doesn't care.
That is the least valuable target you can dive onto. It's going to lose in the mid lane inner turret because they just lost half their engaged support HP and the Cyclone, which is so critical for killing the carries in the backline. WWE losing their heads around the Herald, and now in this mid lane defense. This is the kind of panic which JDG had in the last game where the game was falling apart and they didn't find a way to stabilize. WE, they're a game up in the series, but that doesn't mean you get to fling your engage around so loosely like that.
Oh, hang on, it's a bit dicey. Karras also coming on up. Flash burn by Cube. Has not got the ignite left. When becomes lightning available, but doesn't quite land. And they do get that kill onto the Gwen. Important. Karras now will just reset and wait for another charm. Gonna be up in a second or two. Looks for an angle, can't quite find it.
They have the grubs. They have the grubs. They can stick around on this top side. They just want to see if they can chunk out Shun enough that he couldn't defend the tower. Sadly, they can't. In fact, lands a win becomes lightning. Missing, doing a great job on being a tank to the Brawl in this game.
Back away. Is hit by that depth charge. Also, that Wind becomes lightning on the Cube with problematic angle. They can't sit there. That's really problematic. Been slowed down by the Wind becomes lightning, but doesn't take the angle in.
While all this is happening, Scout doesn't have the teleport yet. It's coming up in a couple of seconds. Stays in bot side. W will take some camps, but again, I've criticized missing a lot over the last couple of years. But missing in this game on the Braum has been very, very good at playing that frontline tank duty. He's not blowing summoners easily. WWE are throwing a lot of engage into him. You know, WWE probably shouldn't be engaging on the Braum, but missing is making it very hard for them to get value out of it, even when they do.
Wukong having just cleared up an entire quad and then managed to pick up a black cleaver off the back end of it all. Let's have a look again, because it looks like for a second there, Arla's got an angle. Got Shun coming on up, but he's just not respectful of the fact that Arla misses timing out and Karras can just ult forward with the charm.
No, Karras managed to... Oh, is it the hitbox? Oh, it's the hitbox snipe! That is such a rare interaction with Ahri. I've only pulled it off myself a handful of times in important games. He manages to hit the character who is actually stood behind the minion, but because their hitbox is larger than they appear, you can occasionally snipe someone from behind a minion if they're stood close enough to it. Dragon now started up. Karras, nice mechanic, despite the fact that doesn't lead to, sadly, the most winning play afterwards.
So what's the idea of that? You aim to one side of a minion?
So I can show you a little bit in diagram. And I apologize to people who don't want to see this and stuff like that on it, as the turret's going to go down. In fact, we'll do it when there's a bit more free time after, because there is the Ascon and stuff. But basically, minions are quite small, champions are quite big. So even though graphically it looks like a champion is stood behind a minion, the hitbox is slightly in front of it, just the edge of it. So it can connect with that part instead, even though it looks like they are safe behind it. Turret will go down for WE. They do have 3 grubs, so the Atacon goes down, they take the mid lane out of turret.
The angle, Shun, keep ordering away that Atacon, goes on down. Hitbox trying to complete this TP. Is it going to get there in time? It will turn up. Now what about the fight after? He's also here. Winter's fight goes wide. Monkey will warrior Trickster over the wall.
WE happy with that trade. They get 2 good towers and in a turret's worth of gold as well. You need to stop punching the microphone. This is like a daily occurrence, Sam.
No, it's not the microphone. It's the
pop shield. I'm aware, Sam.
Yeah.
Sam, this microphone is given its entire existence over to making sure that we can be heard loud and clear across the internet, Sam.
It's in the blind spot of my vision.
Teemo QIRL. Shun gonna be stealing away that red buff. Harris, only a level up on him actually. Can potentially look for a charm hit.
Wait for it. Sure, it's quite deep here. Dodges a fair amount. Flashes over the wall. Karras gonna now ult over, lands with Charm. Pressing dodge still available. JD, remember, with the ult, can look to come on in, but pays now around it.
Karras has no
super
ult
deep.
now.
He can't be there. Flash over. Gets hit by a 3 talent strike. It was all a ruse. And the Fox girl is put in the den.
I mean, my dude, you have 4 dashes, and you've used all of them going forwards. You have nothing to go back. Monkey going forwards is engaged.
Pays now in danger. Gets knocked up and will not go down. Stays alive. And Missing gets huge value. May well die here as Q looking very threatening. Shove with the Crescent Guard though, getting a lot of value as Monkey. Hit up with that Braum passive for Winter's fight. The concussive blows stack up. One Cube now in danger with Taeyun trying to back away as the Unbreakable comes in. But what the hell does Taeyun do there? Aside from eat Braum's present. Pay's still alive. Realm Warp.
It'll close him down. Does he have another counter strike? If he does, but it doesn't matter.
Headshot.
Stand behind Braum. Missing keeps Pay's alive. The heart is the strongest muscle, but only just behind that is the arm holding the shield of Braum. Missing, insane value. My MVP from this game by far. Welcome back, Missing. It's been a while since I've seen a performance like this from him.
I'm hoping we get the replay because he did so much work.
I'm sorry. Like, sometimes Braum is a boring champion to watch. Yes, there's the overdive from Karras coming through, but what I'm really interested in seeing, how much goddamn peel Missing gets onto Pays, who is cycloned up. That should be instant death. Karras dies, sure, that's one thing. Watch how Missing plays this fight afterwards. Jumps in, does Monkey onto Pays as he goes forward, but the shield and the heal, we don't even get to see it. That's so sad, but he's going forward anyway, getting himself some more kill participation.
Pays gets another kill, makes it a double, feels a little bit vindicated after the early game, finally has 2 items and feels a lot happier about life. They lost the last dragon, of course, but they're still in a position where Soul Point will be up in a couple minutes. They can look to shove on in here.
I mean, he's 1.5k up on his opposing number. Vampire has 1 assist in this game, 25 minutes in. Vampire's had a hard time of it. This has been, amongst other things, it has been a huge support diff. The Nautilus into the Braum is hard, but Nautilus, you know, a couple of times around that Herald fight earlier, you wonder whether there was some early advantage that W could have taken advantage of. Scouts maybe looking for a realm up somewhere. Karras pushing up mid lane to try and give some pressure. Of course, Baron's not even spawned just yet. Karras on a long flank will be spotted soon.
Worry about some of the CS numbers as well. Check the Gwen, check the Lucian. They'd be getting a lot more farm than I think their opposite numbers have been. Tier 2 just falls, becomes lightning on the character now in danger. Monkey runs down for the scout who go golden. Buys a lot of time.
Great Braum.
And then again, the glacial fidget comes on down and Vampire staked once more. Flash over from Scout, gets the Roofers and Karras now in danger. And Ala snips him in half. Cube needs to run away as well. Can't go anywhere. It's on the ice off. On the Jax, rather. He's running away from the Audacious Charge. Prevents him from backing up. We'll get the counter strike down. It's supposed to be a good matchup for the Jax into the Xin Zhao. But Shun is having none of it. Out comes the Grandmaster's might, trying to find some angle here, but he can empower all he wants. That's not going to mean all that much as Shun keep winning the 1v1 with the top lane. Gets hit by the counter strike. Begins to turn it around for 3. Talent strike. And he's out for the count.
He's 2 levels up on the enemy top laner. Shun, a much better game compared to the first one. 509 and 2,000 gold up over arguably the most important player on WE in Monkey. Game 1 was a great team fighting affair from WE. In Game 2, dare I say it, they've had 1 team fight around Herald this game, and the rest of it has just fallen apart. They've fallen apart across all roles. You know, Karras going too far forward, Cube not judging the 1v1s effectively, Monkey left alone to dive into the backline without much help because Vampire is losing HP before he can pull the trigger. JDG, roll for roll, outperforming in game 2. Big turnaround from game 1.
You know, for all that I'm with you on the missing MVP, I could absolutely see a world where it's Shun that ends up getting it after that counter gank topside, punishing the low health cube, and Monkey coming to try and shove that wave and getting those 2 kills on the Gwen. Like, everything snowballs from there, and it's just happened everywhere you care to look. The least impactful roles have been mid lane, it feels like. They've not really been a part of a lot of this. It's been about the various side lanes.
Yeah, no, Karis, if he'd managed to join a dive onto Pays at some point, maybe things could have gone differently, shut down that Lucian and hope that you can get away from the Gwen on the other side of the team fight. Baron now started doubly walking over. They don't have Flash and Monkey to get him in range. That's just gone. Baron down, no contest. Dragon up on the for the taking as well. WE not even choosing to rush that on the other side. JDG getting everything.
They don't even lose any HP because of Braum Shield, by the way. They're all basically back at full HP, which makes this very scary indeed. JDG's be a bit wary about a flank angle here. For it.
But even then, like, there's a heal and exhaust on Missing. They jump forwards again, and, you know, Missing's in position. You exhaust the Wukong going in. Yeah, look, they're going for a big old flank angle. They've prepared the top lane already, though. They'll take the turret. W too slow to that. They might still go for a flight, but how do you get through Missing in the big old shield?
Charm goes wide, and JDG well aware of potential flank angle and stay long, long ways away from it. Now the Nexus turrets. They're just going to take them. What are you going to do, W? You've got to pull the trigger soon.
Vampire on a long flight, but all he's done is got a sightseeing trip.
And he hits the Braum again, who just does not give a damn. Glacial Fissure comes on down. Vampire is dead. Nymaera has his head in his hands, and I cannot blame him. We'll get the clone out briefly. Flash on from Karis, who gets a hit by the bloody shield again. Braum is a wall, and they cannot find the ladders, the sappers, the towers to climb on over it. You need siege weapons, and all you got is sticks and stones, and they break WE's bones. It's 1-1 in the series.
Back in my day, we had a stick and a rock for the whole platoon, and we had to share the rock. And don't worry, I'm sure Shun knows what the ladies like as well. If you don't get that reference, I'm not being creepy. I just really like Sergeant Johnson. And JDG will roll across the bridge, blow up every WE member stood in their way. A big green style will not be defeated.
I just realized now, in the context of that sounding potentially inappropriate, having a guy called Sergeant Johnson doesn't help.
Yeah, it does sound pretty bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah. Hello, guys.
Hello. So yeah, 1-1, we will be going to at least 4 games. JDG, a much better game from them on individual levels. I think the draft was potentially at risky at points. And in fact, I think I remember coming out of the draft saying, well, you know, actually, I liked WE's draft because they had good matchups. But JDG, much better skirmishing, and Missing on the Braum was fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah, I think it's between Missing and Shun as the obvious frontrunners for MVP. They had very, very, very good games, and the fact that the Gwen got so fed meant that, yes, you could dive the Lucian all you want, but you were throwing so much at them that by the time the kitchen sink had gone in, you realized you've got nothing left to repossess for the rest of the team fight. You've loaned yourself to the hilt.
Yeah, this is one of the stylistic flaws of WE. When they don't have resounding control over vision control, when they don't have lots of backline target access, they just say, well, fuck it, we'll fight on the front line anyway. And what we could see in that game is like just ulting onto the Braum, hooking onto the Braum, and just not getting any value out of it. That's a problem that they've had for a while now.
Do I like boxing? Is this about the mic punching? Is this what this is about? I used to, fun fact, if you want the fun fact.
Is that Mike Tyson spelled M-I-C? Mike Tyson?
So fun fact, I am strictly a black belt in Wado-ryu style karate. It's been about 10 years since I properly trained, probably longer actually now. So I'm only mildly threatening where I used to be actually dangerous. But yeah, I used to be okay. I beat an MMA guy in a fight once, nice. only in sparring. I got a really good kick to the face in. Very pleased with myself. And that was then I faced my sensei, who was a 5th dan black belt, who managed to sidekick me in the face twice in 2 seconds, and I was like, yeah, okay, I'm not. The ego was swiftly deflated.
Okay, I'm gonna go have a break real quick.
Go for it.
Go to the toilet and stuff like that. I like words on stream.
Yeah.
You know the drill.
I'll tell you what. Is it worth doing a Nuzlocke run on stream at some point? Can you do the background?
I mean, look, if I could get it set up, I actually would.
That could be kind of fun.
Yeah.
So I can still defeat a microphone. Yes, I can. I know Kung Fu. Exactly, Matrix stuff. I know Kung Fu. Show me. Morpheus is fighting Neo. Face to fist. I don't know fact to fit. I know fact to fist. So that's right. Only if you name Pokemon after chatters. Yeah, we can do that at some point. Who's here after energy drink? Don was hating on the shy. Oh dear. Oh dear. Please do not upset the machine spirit inside of the mic. Yes. Get the sensors out. Esterificates, also good to see you. Have you seen the have you played Rogue Trader? Because there's some wonderful lines from the Mechanican in that, which basically just like Latin speak and tech gobbledygook for basically have you tried turning it on and off again? It's just wonderful. Anyone knows anything about tech, you read those lines and you go, okay, that's very funny. I'm trained in insult sword fighting. Is that a Monkey Island reference? JD, is that what I think it is? Yes, I love that game. I'm Minecraft fanboy also. I'm very excited for the DLC. I owe you guys a few runs of some games, actually. I owe you guys Final Fantasy. I owe you guys Disco Elysium. But I think when Rogue Trader gets its third DLC, I may do a stream run of Rogue Trader. Goddamn right, Sam. Yes, it was Monkey Island. I am rubber, you are glue. What you say to me bounces off and sticks to you. They added Monkey Island into Sea of Thieves, didn't they? Easily the best owlbear game. I mean, owlcat, yes. I get you, because owlbear is a thing in D&D, but it's owlcat. They're also doing a new. They're kind of taking the format and turning it into an Inquisition game, which I'm quite looking forward to. Curse of Monkey Island is my favorite game of all time. Really now? That's an interesting game. Will you ever go back to training? I'm assuming it's about karate. At some point, maybe. I miss it. I miss regular exercise, the only thing. And I like the discipline. I thought there was some utility to it as well in terms of specializing. Self-defense skills are no bad thing. Karate was mostly how do you punch someone, right, rather than like locks and throws and stuff. So I'd love to do something like Aikido at some point. I'm a little less interested in Jiu-Jitsu because I've never been that much of a wrestling fan for how strong a system it is. But yes, at some point, I'm getting a bit stuck there. I've got 3 conversations running at once. The ADHD is really strong here. Aikido. Yeah, so Aikido is a really cool form of martial art. So one of the guys, I used to train with a load of other black belts. It's kind of like an after-class session where basically the guys who were a bit more dedicated would go and do kind of one-on-one work with each other and stuff. And we had a lot of people who were black belts in multiple martial arts. We had like the 70-year-old 5th Dan judo martial artist who was like half my size and literally gave me whiplash. He threw me that hard. I have never been taitoshi'd that hard in my life. 70-year-old guy just broke my neck. It was ridiculous. But there was another guy who was a lawyer by day, but basically martial arts were his hobby. And I mean that in like every sense of the word. Every room of his house had a weapon in it. And I kid you not, he had weapons in every room. He taught medieval broadsword fighting. That was his extra job. He taught medieval broadsword fighting. But one of the other martial arts he did a lot of was Aikido. And he was basically saying, like, the guy, he used to do a lot of one-on-one training with the sensei, and he was a very affable Australian. And basically, the guy was very, very normal until he got to the one technique that he was just, like, utterly ruthless with, called a Rimanagi. And he just, like, there was something that, like, would go on in front of his eyes, and it's like, the veneer came off. Shun gets MVP. Huh. I don't hate it, actually. I think he did have a very good game. Obviously, myself and Alex were like, yo, missing's been cracked. But I think if there was another person, Shun was really, really good. And obviously that top side counter game. Crisp. This play here probably wins them the game, actually. So I get the reason. But anyway, Rimanagi. You've got this sensei who comes in. And like, the face goes down. It's like a... The veneer of kindness and affability comes off, and below is revealed the stone cold killer. Just like a Rimanagi. Like yelling some ultimate move from Street Fighter. And basically what it is it's a figure 8 throw by someone. So someone sort of comes in with a punch, and you take them down, and you basically clothesline them. You drag them by the neck, you drag them down, and you throw them around and over. And you do this hard and fast stuff, and you break someone's neck. It's really, really, really nasty. Especially if you do it with intent. You can also do it by someone's face, so rather than grabbing them by the neck, you grab them by the face and push them around. And that's arguably safer. But it's really, really nasty. And the guy was thinking, I love this move. the guy who's training with me, but this guy genuinely scares me, and this move is like probably the most dangerous move he's ever learned. It's really, really nasty. They basically don't teach it to you until you post a certain point, you've done enough throws and practice and stuff. And he's like, yeah, no, this guy, I used to have one-on-one practice, which is 30 minutes to get yeeted across the room by his neck. Brutal stuff. But yeah, that was all the Aikido stuff. But he was like, look, if you ever want to learn proper locks and throws from people coming to attack you, it's the one to learn. It's that or Jiu-Jitsu. And I've always liked the idea of Aikido quite a lot. But anyway, that's the story of Irimanagi from the guy who taught medieval broadsword fighting, was a black belt in at least 4 martial arts. He was a weird dude. I love him a lot. Hope he's doing all right. Not spoken to him in years and years and years. Would you recommend Berlin to go on holiday? Depends what time of year. If you're coming in spring, if you're coming in summer, actually a really cool city. There are amazing cafes and art galleries and weird places to go, and a lot of cool history. You know, Potsdam, and actually got really good train connections to go elsewhere in the country if you want. And obviously some very serious history if you want to get into Checkpoint Charlie, and a lot of very, very heavy World War music, which is very potent and powerful and good. Good for the soul, in the sense of actually it's a good thing as a human to acknowledge and interact with the worst parts of our history. There is importance in it. Then you've also got things like if you are into your nightlife. The club scene in Berlin is remarkable. The art scene in Berlin is remarkable. There will always be some weird bohemian thing happening that's really creative and interesting and cool, and like pop-up game fests that will be like about all these indie designers that come in and made like pseudo dating games out of VR, and then also this guy who makes a massive language model but specifically for basically a Scheherazade type game that will print out the story you write using this kind of text-to-speech type thing off a little receipt game. It's really cool. 开就开。Reason to go to Berlin, annoy Sam in real time. Very much so, man. Good to see you, Sam. Sam, I'm a big fan of bad bread and cold sausage. Is there a European basin I can visit that would suit my needs? Honestly, anywhere in Eastern Europe would do that for you. Germany's got good bread. UK's got surprisingly good. Actually, in fairness, most of Europe does good bread. UK does surprisingly good bread. Most places do, because every supermarket in Europe does fresh bread in store. And it's not like America where they have a lot of that. The way America does wheat in particular drags a lot of nutrients out, and they add a lot of chemicals back in, a lot of sugar back in. So bread is really odd and not actually considered bread in a lot of Europe as a result. But yeah, Europe does a lot of very good bread. UK does a lot of very good bread. A lot of very good like cold cut meats in general around Europe. So like arguably Eastern Europe. But if you're gonna try and bait me into saying UK, I'd actually very much argue not. Especially if you're going around a lot of the local stores. Everything will be, well, here is the cut of roast beef that was cooked in the butcher's today. Roast beef sandwich for like £2.50 or whatever with mustard, off fresh bread and freshly cooked beef. It's really not that bad at all. Very good ham too, for obvious reasons. Germany's fantastic pork. Arguably it would be France, but even then I feel like France still does good cold cut meat, but they tend to import a fair amount from Spain and stuff. Sausages, banger. So the thing is, I often find Eastern European sausages, and arguably a lot like breakfast, a bit dry. But again, I was brought up on UK sausages, are like really juicy and a lot thicker on the whole. You know, like pork apple, chili sandwiches, like sausages and stuff. Cumberland sausages, they're just thicker. Whereas I sometimes find breakfast, at least when they're cooked poorly, get a bit dry. Eastern European tends to do the thinner ones, but again, I find a little bit dry. It's a personal preference thing. It's not that they're bad. It's just the way I've grown up with sausages is very different. Big fan of milk and Pepsi. Is there a drink out there that can give me the enjoyment of both in one glass? Can I introduce you to Pilk and our new team, Pilky Gaming? Once I make UFC, I'll shout out all the League of Legends esports. Hell yeah, Austin. I actually train MMA yourself and looking to enter my first amateur fight in MMA by the end of the year. Oh, that'd be really fun. Is that out in Florida? Oh, fun. Well, best of luck. Try not to get yourself done in. I never did MMA properly, right? Because all of my sparring was within the context of karate and stuff, which is it's pads, it's semi-contact. I'm not there to knock someone out, so it's not really the same kind of fighting as boxing or MMA, which is obviously a lot more intense on that front. So I have nothing but respect for you psychos. Doesn't like dry. Who doesn't like? Who doesn't? Bread. I zoned out for a little bit. Sam likes moist things. Yeah, okay, fine. You're not wrong, but here we go. Cake, sausages. Whoosh! Sorry. What? Didn't say anything. Sneezed. I'm not wrong. There you go. Is Pepsi and milk a thing? Ah, don't. Vitamin Ali. You have possibly reignited a meme that had sort of died in the channel, and I can only apologize. Pilky Gaming is returning. It's Pilk is Pepsi and milk combined, and it's actually a thing allegedly, and it scares me. So yeah, I apologize for what you've done. What's everyone's favorite breakfast? Ugh. Are you nearly ready for draft? I think we will be shortly. One sec, I need to respond to this message, but I see we are into draft. WE banning away double AD carries away from Pace and two of his more potent ones alongside the Vi. Monkey getting the Trundle band away from him. The Ezreal away from Taeyun. Again, very potent. Obviously, Nico right now very, very strong. It does leave the Yorick up. And with the Gwen and the Rumble down, I feel like Yorick is probably that next tier of very strong carry top laners. And that will be the pickup here.
Surprised that WE have not gone towards any tank top laners. That's been one of the ways which they've looked better as a team. Now, the Rumble in first game, I kind of understand that. You know, Rumble's just good for everyone. Everyone should be able to play Rumble right now, and if you don't, that's a problem. But, you know, Rumble, Jax, and then the Yorick, that's away from WE's comfort zone for me. Other side, you know, Pays and Missing get themselves a very good combo. Missing's Rakan, obviously legendary champion for him, despite him being in worse form the last couple of years. That champion has remained a good champion for him. However, Senna Leona, that's a very tanky Leona now going forwards with the Senna shields and heals.
Indeed be that. There goes the Leona and that Senna as you were chatting about.
Would you recommend Berlin to go on holiday? It's a nice place if you like sightseeing. I would suggest going in summer. Go in summer, it's a nice place to go to. But yeah, it's a nice city to go visit. There's a lot of culture. Very different city from the rest of the ones in Europe as well. So the Yorick's been locked in. Sion typically countered by Yorick. But if you manage to stay even in the matchup, you do teamfight much more effectively, and Senna is not a good tank killer. So while the Senna is quite good at scaling up and staying safe, the Scion will present issues to WE if they don't lock in something now like, what do you lock in now for Karis? Something like the Victor, potentially. Oh, you need something with higher potential to kill tanks.
For sure. Senna not exactly the best at that. Yorik's fine in the 1v1, but the team fights, are you ever going to really get time just to sit and bonk a Scion for 30 seconds?
Galio banned away by JDG. No, Karis typically has been going towards more global mid laners. Now no Ryze or Taliyah. JDG have been the ones picking those up. The Galio's banned away is another one. So Karis won't be able to use that snap initiation tool that the Galio can use as follow-up.
It'd be a little tricky. Galio is banned away, as noted. Else are we banning away at this point? Slightly annoying actually having Rakan and Xayah picked in this order, because you can see Rakan's head is slightly in Xayah's profile picture as well. So you've got like an extra half of Rakan in between them, going like, kill me, I'm not really here.
Someone calling out Silas in chat is an interesting pick. I mean, Scout could very much look for that now.
Yeah.
At this point, with the Leona roll and the Senna roll both being very good things to steal away. Of course, it has to be in the right matchup.
You know.
But Scout, yeah, Scout is a good Silas player. Potentially could look for that. But I mean, it would have been okay letting the Galio through with that in mind, I suppose. Worth noting. Of course, it could also be something like the Victor on 4 for Scout. I think he'd be happy with that. I guess maybe less happy playing into the Yorick with that in mind, but good long-range carry.
Can certainly look for it. Where will the band take us and look for the glory of another pick we need?
Also wondering, Syla and the Yone completely unbanned in this game.
Edition special.
Shun plays a lot of this. Pretty good versus the Yorick, can kite him out pretty well, and we get ourselves a Shun Kindred. Right, now that changes things. So now Monkey must pick a champion that can survive against the Kindred. You can't pick something too heavily tanky. If you were going towards something like a Sejuani, that would now be a problem. Hovering over a Kiana.
Done this before, please lock it in.
They've hovered over Talon and Kiana. If we're hovering over Talon and Kiana, awful versus Sion, by the way. The Silas, much better on the other side. If you go Silas, it opens up the Sejuani angle, but then you still have to play Sejuani into the Kindred, which is less good. That is much better into that pick.
And a few options here. Zed is kind of fun, especially because the cooldown on your ult is a lot shorter than Kindred's if you can keep forcing it correctly. And there's been a little bit of a Monkey special, but we've seen a few hovers. Viego, I can sort of see an angle for 2, can maybe deal with some of the potential engages by buffering out with your ult, and it is going to be locked in.
I don't love the Viego into the Kindred, gotta say, because you often dive into them. If you lock in something like the Annie now, I think JDG walk away very, very happy, actually. The Annie can provide an extra form of engage. Very good versus the Silas, because the Silas doesn't give you that best ultimate. They choose the Aurora instead, a little more mobile, a little more self-sufficient. I personally would have preferred to see the Annie, but maybe this is based on lane matchup. Perhaps Scout is happier playing the Aurora into the Silas.
Oh, JDG got themselves double AD carry, plus AP, plus frontline. Try and really aggressively play for WE. They're looking for resets. Use Senna and Silas to blow someone up from Monkey to then bounce around in their body. Has to be the decision. Of course, you've got the Yorick wing condition as well, with a bit of a global behind it, so that can obviously give you an additional angle in the game.
Yeah, another good point by raised in chat as well, by Vendetta, saying, look, this is a 4 melee comp from WE into Xayah, into Kindred, into Sion.
Yeah.
I think that also, honestly, Aurora's pretty good into melee stacking as well. WE, they are on blue side. That is, it's typically been something we say, well, that's definitely afforded an advantage. I don't think WA have come away with the better draft this time. That being said, I thought we've had some very bad, questionable drafts winning games recently. It's not the be-all and end-all. We'll be on execution, but I do think JDG walk away with a better draft than WE by my eyes.
And it's not like WE's comp doesn't make sense. I see what it's supposed to do. I'm just looking at it and going, well, how does it do what it's supposed to do into the likes of JDG's comp particularly easily? And the answer, I think, we both come to is not that easily, I fear.
Someone in Anivia's chat saying, Sion doesn't win games, it never wins games. I'm going to go check up the win rate within LPL, because I think it's actually been much more successful than people think. Top lane, it is a 55% win rate over 89 games. It's been very popular.
That's not bad,
been picked up well, and it does win a majority of the games that it's in. Typically, WE have been using it well too. WE have to play against it now, and we'll hear what the Gyos sound like on the Rift.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。
敌军还有30秒到达战场，碾碎他。
What a voice. Cube might end up face checking someone he probably shouldn't do here. As Monkey and Cube look for the invade. Kindred obviously tends to start the Wolf's Frenzy, so doesn't have the Q up quite yet, has yet to level anything. We'll need to reset. If Monkey lands his Q over the wall, Kindred is going to be so annoyed. Has to have an idea. Oh, Shun is actually dead. That's unfortunate.
Why would you recall there? Monkey will live through this as well with his first reset. JDG, not exactly sure what you're doing. Like, leaving your Kindred out to dry like that. There is a ward now into the jungle. I suppose Shun is not going to be delayed on his first camp, and Monkey will start at half HP, but I'm not exactly sure much is going to change outside of that. Shun, left out to the Wolves, which is ironic.
Just a touch. Thought he was going to be able to get the reset off, but they bait it well. He wanted to get that reset off and get back to base. We didn't want to cancel it and go somewhere safer. He wanted to get back out on the Rift, and we'll start on the other side of the map, having given over that kill. Didn't blow any summoners at the very least, but still very awkward there at the level 1 from the Kindred.
Nymaera starting with the E. Dodges out on that Q, actually. Nice from him. It's hard to trade into that at the level 1 E to Q start. Jim will start on his camps now. The WE, given a good opportunity, we're saying that the draft is good from JDG. Getting early advantages can smooth over those kind of difficulties, though.
Play that up. Outside, Taeyun gets an auto off with the railgun. That's about it. It is a really cool gun set.
Yeah, no, it's just Vampire walking up in the brush. There was a chance of an extra seal Daybreak and rushing towards that level 2. Like this, goes for that Zenith play. Don't land onto Pace, though, and the W misses.
Nearly lands that last embrace. Doesn't quite. As a result, JDG gets to walk away. They do burn the heal for that, though. Worth noting.
Summoner down. Scout trading well in the mid lane. Reminder that he chose to go towards the Aurora instead of something like the Annie, which provides a bit more utility to the team. This is more self-sufficiency, right? You have a lot more mobility. You're better in side lanes. Jun about on pace with Monkey now. No, look, the camp behind actually. Just as we see that, we'll have to see whether Shun can recover from giving that early kill after Monkey. Monkey hasn't recalled yet, so hasn't actually used that gold, though, importantly.
He has not. Kindred going to wait and see which side of the map the Skull Crab spawns on. Actually, leave a couple of those camps up to try and cheat the recall timers. Has he marked the side of Cube yet? No, he is not.
No, he's marked the jungle because he wants to play the mind game and say, you think I'm going to go towards the Diego. This is going to be flash blown at best, I think.
Yeah, there is the flash. Flash with the decimating smash, and they actually get it. Oh, Cube now in danger. The last right healing. Oh, there's in danger, and Shun has to back away.
I was just saying, the best you get is a flash there. You don't have any components or items yet. You can't make that kind of play. An overforce potentially should have just been the flash and out. Monkey now going towards mid lane.
Wants to get a hold of this. The mark is topside. Cube coming on down. Shun healing up, does get that smite. He's going to have a Q up again shortly with the down arrows. I mean, been inside the Wolf's Frenzy. He needs to get up the wall.
Flashes and gets hit.
And the flash gets hit.
Flashes and gets hit by the Spectral Maw anyway. Monkey hops over the wall and will steal the camps away. Awful early game from Shun.
Oh, Vampire now in danger as he will at least go 1-for-1. Pay's going to try and trade out as Vampire's
He is the danger.
Is he going to try and turn this around? But he's now got more feathers to work with. Vampire out of cooldowns, in danger. He needs to get some value. The feather call comes on through. Waiting out with that sweeper to prevent the easy autos coming on through from Pace.
A really poor early game from Shun now. 0-2, overforcing the top lane, gets the scuttle, but flashes poorly away from the Viego, still getting hit by the CC. Shun was a lot of the reason why JDG was succeeding in Group Ascend, but now on their downswing, he's a lot of the reason why he's failing with this team. Will get the double scuttle at least and get a second mark off of that plate, but it won't recover the fact that the Viego is much more fed than he should be. Going back to a replay in the 2v2 now, where Payne's managed to pick up a kill. It's another Zenith plate, instead of a carnival of things. A really good E into W afterwards from missing to threaten Taeyun. They can't really focus their damage down to any one target. It means that even though the initial damage looks like it's good for WE, kill goes over to Pays and they can't quite really get the value out of the setup.
Here's this play again. Shun thinks he's in the Wolf's Frenzy. Will get a second dance of arrows up and he'll be fine, but flashes and Monkey still hits him.
He gets the reaction time, right? Just the wrong direction. He could have flashed over the wall at that point. It was close enough. Going down for that second kill, down a decent amount of CS, kill and assist over towards Monkey. Shun losing out of the jungle matchup.
Didn't actually get that mark off that top side Skull Crab, because obviously I think it spawned on the other side. And so
right. Because, yes, okay, cool.
Pretty sure. I understand why he was fighting for the Scuttle Crab. Ends up being a little awkward there, but does end up getting a mark at least. It could be worse, but this is not what you want from a Kindred. I remember chatting to some pros in his face saying, look, if you're a Kindred, your most important thing is don't die early. It's like,
Yeah, well,
step one.
Exactly, and that's the case for many carries actually, especially for stuff like ranged top lane. Scout does have flash, whereas the E misses, goes onto a minion instead.
Back away by going across the veil. Comes back out on the other side, unscathed. Top side pays a missing, getting some shove up, and that might be the wink on here in his own right. They are doing very well in this lane early on.
Yeah, if they can stomp down on this 2v2, definitely removes a lot of the power from WE. Shun around this top side, just make sure it's a safe crash. And Shun not taking his red buff, by the way. Did he think that Monkey had taken it already? He was still up on his side of the map, foregoing that camp.
I think he's just trying to keep his camps on a decent timer, I guess. Looking for more plays necessarily than camps, which he can do on the Kindred early to try and just start stacking those marks early as he can. He's got the Leona marks.
Leona marks. Sion ulting in. There's no flash on Taeyun.
Vampire tanks it up, and now he's going to get hit by the Wolf Frenzy and the Mounting Dread. And it is a snap away from Shun, who gets the kill and a second mark.
So that mark's nice, and I think right there, I almost wonder if it is less valuable to have the Leona die because of that mark going over. Against this kind of quad melee team, the 4th mark from Kindred is a game changer. Against other ranged champions, often the range feels a little moot because you're still outranged.
Yeah.
Against melees, you outrange even harder, and that does feel very obnoxious trying to gap close against the 4 mark Kindred.
Kindred's going to reset, looks to buy some items here. It's down a few hundred gold. The second mark makes a lot of difference. Picks up the early fade, so likely going towards the Trinity Force first, I would assume. I think it'll be a Black Cleaver first item somehow. So that'll be Ala now needing to run away a little bit.
Has no flash, has no wall. He actually can die here.
The last embrace, Zenith's Blade, Shield of Daybreak comes on down. The Soul Furnace finds some time. Ala very tanky here and Taeyun just doesn't have enough in the tank yet.
Needs to be a little afraid now of Monkey roaming up river and causing issues. So he'll have to back off. That'll be potential opening for W towards to get a topside play. It's worth noting, by the way, Shun is a full level down this early on onto Monkey. Still, he's been giving up a lot of camps. He's not taken his red buff into this game, by the way. Still not taken his first red buff of the game, maybe assuming that Monkey had taken it. Shun really misreading the early jungle pathing. JDG as a team maybe not doing the best to scout things out, much like in the first 2 games, which we called out in other games in the series, but Shun getting this far behind, it is an issue.
He's going to get 6 off this camp, which is alright in the end of the world. Still has a full quadrant to clear. He's a little behind on that front, and unfortunately for him, couldn't get over towards that Skull Crab, which would have been a 3rd mark from topside.
I mean, yes, but just the base stats of level 5 to level 6 is a really big difference.
Yeah.
The gold is okay, but you can't afford to be losing out on an extra, you know, however many health it is per level, however many armor it is, and magic resist per level and stuff like that too. Still not chosen to get his red buff. Has he just not checked it? Does he not know it's up? Grub's now started. Presumably they just think it's down.
Yeah, after the early levels, I wonder whether after he died they thought that the red buff would have been started up.
Kara's still in that quickness, really big ultimate for him to steal as an engaging tool. Vampire does have flash back up, and if we get on towards that Kindred, they are a lot easier to kill at this point than they should be.
The last embrace will ult to immune it. They're going to take one of the cubs and Shun flashes away, looking to find a good angle to put down a lamp to fight for quiet. Kara still with the quickness as Arla forced away by Q, makes things tricky. Grub number 2 secured by WE. The fight can now commence over the last one. Bit of a route there onto Missing, who's not going to get a chance to put his own quickness down as Kara's a lot of work between worlds. Monkey into the black side. He'll be forced to back away as the feathers go down. Paige now in danger, needs to pull the feathers. Does get a good route, but what about the turnaround damage? Still got the lamp to fight to work with. Each Kara survives. 10% HP if that.
So WE, very threatening fight there. I actually think they probably wanted more than one kill. They were in a very strong position given that the Kindred is just not a factor right now. And Arlo was out of position, ulted away, and meant that JDG didn't have a front line. WE do get 2 grubs, they get 1 kill. But even with that, I still somehow think that JDG are somewhat saved a little bit here. And Arlo's trying to walk up to hold a choke point, finds Taeyun, and Arlo has to ult through the last embrace, and then of course walks into Cube. Gets out just using the flash though, so at least he's built a bit of strength.
Of course, then we get this interesting play. Well, of course, Karis still got the stolen quickness and Missing. CC'd into absolute death.
He walks up to melee range of a Q. Q now 1v2 on top side.
And so it's Shun, and therefore Shun gets that kill. Nice pick up for him. Not a mark or anything, but he'll take the extra kill, and that's good value for the Kindred.
He's finally took his red buff, by the way.
Yeah,
He's finally taken it. He's climbed up a little bit more in terms of XP now, only half the level difference between him and Monkey. But as we were saying, though, that 4 mark is really important to see how quickly Shun can get it. Not actually sure whether Shun remarked someone else. I just saw it.
There you go.
Yes, yeah, I saw it being applied to him, but I didn't know whether he tried to mark Q before that play topside. He will spot out Monkey just take this, but not able to stop him doing anything about it.
Vampire still at level 5. Missing has got level 6. Could potentially look for something interesting here, but I think that level of discrepancy not going to really lead to all that much. I don't think Vampire can be 4 of 6 himself. In fact, there it is, off that wave. So as the Solus let off and running.
A little bit down in the XP, a bit worried there. Of course, the CV2 largely going very well for JDG. Not going to hit through the invisibility there. Scouts doing a good job of staying safe in this lane. Not able to impact game as well as Karis so far early. And once again, we talk about, oh, you know, draft good for XYZ side. Blue side is somehow creeping ahead. Once again, Vampire missing. We'll find each other in this brush. Missing. Not able to walk up and take it.
Win worlds we go. Scout. Eat the stolen one. It's called wave. Karis will then eat a weirding in response.
Yeah, Karis like, I'll just run out of this. I'll steal their ultimate. Sure, that's a minion wave gone. We do occasionally see that. Dragon now up to 30 seconds. The ult stolen by Karis allows him to reset and come back in time for the fight in 30 seconds.
Shun has actually gotten the 24 now, so actually in a position where he can probably play around this dragon pretty aggressively should he so wish. Rise on it.
No, well, he's only on 2 marks, not in a situation where he can get that 4th one midway through the fight. Plus that W down, uses it for a bit of poke. It can be surprisingly good poke, by the way. Applies the Scorch Wall and he does take 2 damage. He does hit this time. This is after the teleporter come back in from Scouts as well.
I turn it back and he gets some healing back with the pot, with the passive, so should be back up to 3/4 okay-ish here. This is the weirding there.
Close. Spots him with the sweep pushing. Can start doing some damage with the Hex Tech Dragon now. Second one spawned up. Karis can't steal an ultimate for the next, say, 15 seconds or so. Might be able to do it if they're going to delay the fight.
To the other side here. I don't know whether you can go that way, Shun. Be a little wary.
Yeah.
Trying to body block for any potential monkey angles, I guess.
You know they're in that brush. They do now.
Between worlds to go. Dawning Shadow comes on down for the Lamb's fight. Keeps Monkey and people alive. Missing. Doing his very best. But the knockup battle is good. Oh, it's phenomenal. Shun died, but I think he's happy. The respite was well earned. And WE fall apart as JDG are all ready to punish.
Which one of you doubted the Kindred? Shun the non-believer! Got the ultimate just in time. Vampire will die too. Missing, doing a great job with the triple knockup out of the Lamb's Respite. Vampire will eventually die. He'll try and Hex Flash away, but he can't manage it. JDG, huge fight. That turns the game much back more into their favor.
Can Q get this turret topside? That would be pretty significant. Would love to pick it up, but it's turned around. Forced to flash out as the Decimating Smash came on through. He's actually now potentially in a lot of danger. Can't quite get that turret. Yeah. I got what he was looking for, but the force darts did interrupt stuff.
No, Arla very close to getting a solo kill there. Just overcharged his Q a little bit. Allowing that flash out. Missing could potentially look for a dive on here. There's no flash. Okay, no, do you think? All right. Enough damage being used. WE failing that last play is huge. Absolutely huge. Because not only is that them failing to get the kills, they also use the big Senna ult. And Shun gets himself a 3rd mark. If he gets another steal now onto the Raptors, there's a chance of a 4th mark. Karis is walking up just to ward him off of that, actually. But Shun now much more back into the game than he had any right to be. Almost level in XP as well.
Maybe look mid lane here. We'll have a look at this replay because it is a very tight run thing.
I mean, they're trying to get the quick reset. If that W got onto Scouts instead, wonder whether it would have been different. The Lamb's Respite, godlike. This is the kind of player you dream as a defensive player. Triple knockup out of the end of it, so they can't just immediately execute someone and use reset. Taze uses his ultimate, get a bunch of feathers down early. Wonderful response from JDG. Just much better reaction time in the fights.
So it was one of those things with the Lamb's Respite. You stack 2 stacks for your Mounting Dread and then wait for the 3rd one once your ult times out to the big frog. Same sort of deal. That's always the answer until it's about to time out.
Karis had a very good trade there onto Scout. You steal another cooldown with the double Q hitting. This is a kill angle, and it forces Scout to say, right, I'm going to pop the ult for wave clear. Has the Malignance, is less of a loss for him because of that. But Karis doing well at making sure that he could force that out.
Shun is now topside. Monkey snap his rev up. Going to get the slow. The Mountain Rev beginning to stack. Going to get some damn down flash on out of dark possession. Comes on down. Also, the Dawning Shadow. Cube in danger. Knocked up by that Decimating Smash. And Shun gets another.
Again, Shun not marking the Silas. He's playing mind games with his stacks, saying, I'm going to be ganking the Silas side of the map. Turns up on the other one instead. It means he's getting less opportunities to get those stacks, but he's less expected when he does turn up in places. Herald is now spawned. Shun has his ultimate again, by the way. So, very good ability to, counteract that quadruple melee comp diving into them. replay around it, as we were saying, particularly got something like a Scion charging up the Q2s. We haven't seen that interaction yet, but if you try and play around, it can be very dangerous. They'll be sticking around, but I don't think they can really contest.
Not very freely. Shun is about to realise that he no longer has a red buff, and that was nabbed away. He'd be very sad about these things. He'll look to reset himself. I'm assuming we'll have the majority of a black cleaver on the way here as a result.
Slash over, can't find out. Yeah, you need that extra attack speed, really. You need some attack speed in the build. The Triforce gives you some, but then Kraken Slayer, which is basically not an item on anyone else, surprisingly still quite good on the Kindred.
Also on the Viego, actually, as well, worth noting, Monkey's gone for that option. It does have a few options, does Viego, depending on how he wants to play, but has gone for that attack speed.
Good trade there from Scout. How's the ultimate back up? How's the Malignance? Might have more flash through here. Gets it on there. Hops over.
Ooh, this is a flash at the very least. Vampire now coming. Well, not find who he was looking for. A little ironic.
And this mark is there. If they can get the slight hit there, you got Mark 4. That's it. They finally managed to get themselves access to that jungle camp. Well played from Pays, because a lot of the time teammates just don't realize that they should be participating in the steals.
Please, guys.
Pays walking over as such a fed Xayah helps Shun get to Mark 4, and that extra 75 range increase at the first 4 does give you a massive ability to play against the anti-melee.
Be very annoying for sure. Okay, so we're looking for a couple autos there over the wall. We'll get that much value. The Senna just stacking away. 47 stacks at 16 minutes. It is whatever. It's not too bad. Again, we sort of see 60 by 20 at the minute with this particular variant of farming. Senna is the average we have seen. G. Looking around the enemy river. Not quite find it. Vampire now looking. Solar Flare. A little shy.
Oh, this is dangerous now. This is dangerous.
He goes with the Zenith Flare. There comes the quick. Stolen as well, though, by Karis. Also in comes Arla with the TP. Could look for an angle. Doesn't find it that well. Karis backs out alive, and everyone doesn't die.
Surprised that JDG couldn't find a big turner. Hang on a second, Missy. You've got to be careful there. Forcing the out of Karis. There's Dragon, of course, available. Q hitting from Missing gives him a lot of HP back. You need to keep an eye on that W. If you give him another one, he can fight much more effectively again.
Play this one out. Shun now looking to threaten Monkey at the back of the pit. Inside the harrowed path.
Oh,
Missing is in danger. Does get back on out. Karis looks for the kill and does get it. That's a lot of reset damage. Scout flashing on over the wall. Gets out alive as Monkey relatively on quite find it. Shun also threatens Cube. Forces him to flash between worlds. Goes Scout. Stays alive. But I think JDG have overplayed this fight. Monkey looking to reset.
No!
Does it. The last fight is too late. And there's nothing to be done as Arla falls as well. The Scion becomes a zombie. And the Cranberries had the ride of it. There's nothing left in the head.
JDG overplay after losing the initial chunk. You didn't have to die for this dragon. They try and outplay, and Shun from one mega ultimate gets an absolute stinker right afterwards in his next cast of it. Shun not able to outvalue, particularly Karis in that last fight. The silence very, very impactful, and JDG giving way too much room for him to play.
Try and collapse as they saw Shun walking over here. They're going to try and stop him on this steal. He's trying to get the smite down. Can't quite get hit by the last embrace. Do they want to keep chasing? I think they might. Can't quite get there in time. And Shun still has a dance of arrows, and Karis might have to turn this one around. Actually, might be marked by this Kindred. This might be too far. Does manage to get out with a stolen between worlds.
I know, Scout was roaming over, but JDG lose their minds a little bit. Vampire now stopped on the recall. That could be a bit of an issue. He has no flash. Is anyone coming over? There's the Viego.
Looking to play this one out. Vampire lands the Zenith Blade. Shun now on Blasco. Gets pulled away. Solar Flare comes on down, but over comes Scout as well. Missing Galo. Will battle dance out to safety. Has got some honey fruit potentially if he needs it. TP behind. We're going to continue this play. This is all over. An attempted take of the mark on Wolves, by the way, guys. This is what this has led to. Welcome to Kindred minigames as Cube gets the kill on the Rakan. Karis with the rocket belt into the abduct. Onto Scout, who will go down the Petricide first. Bring down the bunny at the knees.
Now JDG are the ones panicking. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They lose out on the Kindred minigame there. And now suddenly Monkey 1,000 gold ahead of Shun despite some of his good plays earlier into the game. WE dancing in the chaotic rhythm much better than JDG, particularly because they have multiple people who can start up plays, like Monkey, like Karis. Missing here goes way too deep, flashes into the quickness too to take another chunk of damage from Karis. A poorly played fight from Missing, giving over a quick reset. And of course, resets are the be-all and end-all of the Viego. Hey, he's trying to step out away from the skill shot as best he could, but realistically, what can you do after your support is going to die and give him the reset over so easily like that?
And afterwards, there was that whole kerfuffle in the enemy jungle. Either way, Monkey now 4-1-4 on this Viego. Got himself a Sundered Sky for the Kraken Slayer. A lot of ability to cycle through those autos, get that passive healing off. In the extended plays, a lot of work to things like Scion. Quite annoying to manage, shouldn't they? It's pretty scary here. Summons the Herald with the rest of the squad looking to get a charge on in here. I heard Scion ulting on in somewhere, but it's obviously a stolen Unstoppable Force. Oh no, he missed the ult!
He misses the turret.
No. He wanted to get out. He wanted to leave. Can't do so, and instead will die after some poor driving through the enemy jungle.
And he didn't hit the turret.
I think he decided, if I hit the turret, I'm dead. I've got to escape. And then just dies anyway. Huge mistake. Doesn't get the tower and dies.
Lamau LT in Chuckwave. Yeah, that's kind of my vibe as well. Missing had a wonderful game too. This one has been a bit harder on the Rakan, I think it has to be said.
Yeah, 0 and 5. It's giving over so many extra resets over to Monkey, and what should have been a very successful draft, I think, from JDG, falling very far behind now, and JDG cannot afford to be giving over easy kills like that.
Because the skirmishing from WE is very potent this game. When you're Silas, when you're Leona, when your BA goes ahead of the curve, those 3v3s get quite tricky. Cube, all the while, the other win condition with full grubs to his name, takes a tier 2, forcing the fight around this Atakan. Here we go again.
So the York's not going to be here, Ala is, so JDG can actually use this as a leash. WE may be cooking a little too hard in the macro.
Work, TP's available, that's the Atakan taken. Look at the wild though, the mini-map, Yorick is pushing, TP towards the turret.
Yeah, I think JDG realized, look, we're not really going to be able to stop him from split pushing, even if we send someone down. Let's get the Atakan with that turret, Karras jumping into a scan phase.
Missing's still here, quickness available, and we'll get knocked up if we can get to the wall. Shut down goes the way of Paze.
And that's going to give an opening to JDG to get the top lane turret as well. WE get overcooking in terms of the macro. They think, oh, we can do the Atakan and we can get the bot lane turret, but no teleport on Yorick means that a large part of their gold is not available for the top side, and JDG take Atakan and, of course, a kill and the turret.
Shut down onto Paze as well in terms of picking that gold up from the Silas to clarify that statement. That's a big deal. He's now at 2.5 items, is 1,200 gold, and he is a win condition in this game. We already said, yo, I don't know how easy it's going to be to dive into Azaya with everything else to keep her alive, and that is still very true.
It gets a lot easier when Monkey gets a Rakan reset or something like that. Karras has typically been playing very well, actually. He's been opening up extra angles, forcing the ultimate very easily from missing. Dragon's now up in a minute. Paze will have everything available, and he's almost towards 3 items as well. 1,000 gold up on Taeyeon. He's got a much cheaper item, but yes, he's stacking decently well, almost towards that 70 mark. The 81, of course, the next range increase. JDG, you cannot afford to get out team fought like you did the last one, though. I think you have one last team fight in you from this kind of gold lead. If you lose this one, I think WE sweep it.
That would be tricky to manage. We are pretty much fully locked and loaded. The only summoner spell down coming into this fight is Ala's TP. That is it. Everyone else has ults, has items, has summoners. Brace for impact, folks. There is a lot of tools to use.
Yeah. That Taeyeon gets a chunk onto Pace with just that single Cupid where it gets onto Shun too. Shun, who's the marked at the Silas, doesn't really matter for this fight too much. Dragon spawn now. Yorick on top side has that teleport. His Scout is there because he's the one with the teleport.
Monkey hiding around in the Harrow's path will turn up onto the speed shrine as that times out. Dragon start.
So double carry stacked up on each other. W lands. Vampire going in.
Finds some value. Dawning Shadow comes on through, but I think he's got a bit deep. The pedestal, though, you potentially dangerous now as they need to back away. Pace backs away. Prevents the easy engage.
Wonderful from Pace.
Pace finds it. A wonderful angle. Stays alive as Monkey goes looking too. Pace breaks every ankle available.
That is why Pace was on my MVP shortlist for JDG. He solo carries that fight, baiting in the engage, getting the feather pulled back onto Karras, who's looking for a reset. And yes, there is going to be another turret given over, but JDG get 2 good kills, and they end up getting themselves the dragon as well. Scout jumping over. Ala's coming up. They could look for a kill here.
Buying some time. The maiden just out of range. Can't keep ordering. Goes. It loses vision. They're going to flash on forward. Misses the 2-fold hex. Still looking for auto. Gets the weirding down. Slow onto Cube now with the Leandries. The Malignant's ticking. Ala comes on up to begin to roar like the Slayer he is. Flash away from Cube. Decimating flash lands. TP's beginning to fly. They need to think about backing away. Over they come. Shunna missing. Waiting on it. Karras now in danger. Ala body blocks the abduction. Scout needs to be wary. Hit by the chain line.
No,
down. The Lampra's fight is late. And that means the solo lanes both die.
Shun's ultimate could have turned that play. Honestly, I think that Ala should have been able to kill Cube anyway. The early flash from the Yorick should have killed him. JDG messing up what should have been a simple kill on that top side. Paze on the bot side of the map 2 was not able to join. JDG punished for misexecution and sloppy macro. On the other side, Karras, good kill there to make sure that Shun was forced to react, which he failed.
The margins with which you play Kindred are often very narrow, and that one was on the wrong side of life and death.
Look, sometimes you're sat there as someone who's neutral, hang on, missing, gonna jump into multiple E's, it's dead.
Trying to contest this, one missing goes down. Shun trying to get some value out, but he's being body blocked by that maiden. Paris left a little low by this Baron. I just don't think they can fight it.
That's going to be Baron down. Missing looked to see if they would be a little greedy. They were not. We'll get that easy kill. I mean, real credit to WE. Their skirmishing is better than JDG. I think the Silas being so far ahead, having the ability to follow up with the global or the center has really helped them on the whole. And the other side of it is Shun is behind in gold. And besides that one fantastic ultimate earlier in the game, has really, really messed up with some of these Lamb's respites, which could have turned some of these later skirmishes. JDG need more from that ultimate button of Shun.
Monkey's getting alarmingly close to a GA here, and suddenly that Viego gets a lot harder to stop on the ingress. No arm guard quite yet for Karras. I think he's looking at it going, please, I need the stasis to buy some time on the flanks. Quite there yet. The boots come on through. Third item for this Yorick, who is 3 items deep and nearly 4k up, actually. Yeah, that's kind of nasty.
So JDG, I mean, Pays doesn't have his summoners this time. I think it's much easier to play when Pays, who I think is, though he's got 2,000 gold in the advantage, but also he's been playing very, very well. If he has all summoners, I think JDG can win fights. Besides that, I just don't think the other members of JDG are playing well enough for them to win team fights.
All messed up Lamb's respite, problematic, missing, kind of often been the sacrificial Lamb as the sole face checker when Arla's not around. Been punished accordingly.
Well, now Cube is at the point where he can actually start threatening inhibitor turrets, which is a bigger problem for JDG. You can give us Mina turrets and say that's gold, we'll get the dragon value outside of that.
I wondered about it. He's going to look now. Won't find too much aside from the abscond. And Arla trading with Cube now. Ults as well. There could be a potential angle here. There's no TPs to respond this time. I think that's just a dead Yorick.
It's going to take a little bit of HP with him. Good shutdown. No dragon start on the other side. It's not up yet. Karras pushing the mid lane turret, but not able to finish it.
Decent job. Minute and a half from that dragon. That will probably prevent too much more here for a second or two. Not bad from
good.
JDG.
That was nice. Some good extra follow-up damage, and it means that Cube not going to be available for some of the setup here. Shouldn't going to walk forwards on 5 marks. Decent damage on the Karras. Also no flash. JDG with this momentary advantage, even against the Baron buff, can actually open up the mid lane turret on their own. Decent rebuttal from that.
Enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy some toast for breakfast, apparently. Read the chat, you'll understand. But that's fine. Minute or so until Dragon. That was the sole point either team. 5 marks still on the Kindred. Looking to stack towards. Looks like it'll be a late collector here.
Yeah, not a fan of that. Not a fan of that.
Don't get me wrong. It's not bad into people like the Viego, the Silas, sort of the Senna in terms of managing people like the low health bars. But I think at this point the Lord Doms.
No, I mean, honestly, if there's the maths basically says, and this applies to almost all champions in almost all games, if you're not building collector first item, don't build it. You should be going towards Lord Doms and at least future-proofing your build a little bit here. There's a Thornmail being built up in Vampire. That'd be important too. Skull Crab now claimed for WE. Clear out some of those wards. Dragon in 30 seconds. JDG managed to reset. Only 3k behind now. We're closer to 5k before Karras doesn't have a flash.
Maybe look for one overall. Can't quite do it. Dragon, 20 seconds. It is JDG in the river first.
Missing walking forwards, trying to put down some extra vision. Monkey puts down a control ward in response. Missing 1 and 6 right now. We talked big about his Rakan just before this. He's struggled to deliver on that. Keep on a side lane, pushing in that top side. Once again, forcing JDG into a macro decision. Are going to clear. We'll have teleport to join the fight.
You do damage if you don't. Taeyun, about 3 stacks of 100 on this center as well. It's not really been about the center this game, but with 3 items and a lot of stacks, it could be scary. Dragon taken though, while that posturing in mid lane happens. TP now coming on in from the Yorick. Very late though. Can they catch JDG on the retreat? That has to be the play. TP in response from Arla, buying some time. And WE fail the cross.
Yeah, they don't stick in topside. They teleport the Yorick down and don't find a fight. They don't have the Baron buff anymore. Karras does have an ultimate to fight in the choke point though.
Arla also walking up, start preparing the Soul Furnace, buys a moment, gets some damage on the character who goes gold. Quickness from missing is pretty solid. Does get that time, needs to battle downtown. Damage on Silas who's dead. Can look to turn it around as Kurshun begins to auto away. Geo from Monkey goes golden, stakes away that soul of the Rakan. Looking to reset. Scout flashes away from the Spectral Maw. Should run away out against Taeyun who's inside the Flurs of the Black Mist. Now Lamb's respite, buys some time, Cube in danger, tries to get some value, can't quite do it, Monkey comes on in and shuts the mine, but Taze gets him. Taeyun's range though is horrifying. Look at that Senna go. Seems to come out as the Oh, but between across the veil, that's the one. Finally found the word. And Scout stays alive. Shun picks up the collector, but Taehoon, oh my god, the range.
Pays flashing to kill Monkey, I think saves the back end of that team fight. WE, they fail to get the dragon, they fail the fight afterwards, and they don't get the inhibitor topside either. They had a lot to gain from that play, and they don't walk away with that much. JDG getting a much better scenario than I thought they would really do at that point. Paris using the ultimate onto the choke point, gets some decent damage down onto 3-4 people. See that Taehoon is actually caught just hitting the Scion for a lot of this fight, whereas Pays is actually hitting the meat and potatoes of the team fight, getting damage down onto the damage dealers, which means that early on, Pays is getting so much extra value. It does go a little far after that point, I think, but on the whole, Pays massively outvaluing, and as we were saying before, if Pays rather has everything up, they can win team fight. Does use all some of this again here. The feather pullback saving the team fight.
Oh my god, every auto sticks a lot now. Bloody hell, he did 2/3 of Pays' health bar with a single Q. That's pretty nuts.
So, JDG get away with that one, but they do lose both summers from Pays. He's got 4 items now. Infinity Edge has a Bloodthirster on the way, which will make him harder to kill. Of course, now they have double Mountain Dragons onto Arla. He's 5,000 gold behind, but he's still a Scion with an extra 1,000 HP from the Soul Furnace. It's actually a little low in the stacking, actually, all things said and done. But hey, 5,000 gold behind in the individual matchup. Scion's still useful. What a champion.
1,364, no, 84 stacks, 84 stacks. You could do better, you could do worse, it'll do for now. Hold the line best we can. Shun now level 16, so the land's quite a lot lower cooldown, nice for him. The other thing is the GA on cooldown from the Horizon, that would be a bit problematic, but 112 stacks on Taehoon, they're going to go with that.
Yeah, Cube doesn't have teleport. JDG is saying we will rush this down before the Yorick can become a problem, and Arla will just try and hold the door shut.
He is zoned off, Baron's sure, but there goes the Yorick, and the reset.
Yeah, he
might be able to, you know.
Yeah, Arla just ended up using his...
oh boy.
Arla's gone down. There will be one reset. Aurora's gone onto the Nexus and will be able to ult the wave.
Harris now in danger, lands that abscond of Dark, gets Pays into danger, goes up with the feathers on, but can't go anywhere! Finally gets the Lamb's fight by Sniper. Pays is doing his best to stay alive for a second. Where are the feathers? Trying to get the resets, the collector proc finally come through, but Taehoon murders many people!
Karis hitting that abscond of Dark onto the flashless, cleanseless Zaya ends up winning in the team fight, and that might just seal the game. Even though there is a Baron buff, I think Scout might not be able to hold this on his own. 30-second death time is elsewhere. W will look for the game end.
Taehoon is so scary right now. He's just chunking these turrets out. He does it from miles away. The game is over. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, and WE hold the line. We're going to a fourth one at WE at series points.
JDG takes the Baron for Nexus trade. They die taking the objective, and now on home soil in Beijing, their home arena, in the lower bracket round 1, are up against 2 match points from Team WE.
What a wild state of affairs. Hello, folks. I am known as Initialise. The person over here is known as Nymaera. It is a great pleasure to have you all in here watching this game of League of Legends. It's a good time, isn't it? WE finding a very close run win against JDG. There were moments when you felt like, JDG, what have you done? There was moments when you felt, WE, what have you done? Good moments from both teams. Vampire getting a lot of the fan votes right now, interestingly. He had a pretty solid game on the Leona. I feel like Cube as well was pretty scary on that Yorick.
For me, it's gotta be Karis.
Right.
Like that Silas being so important into all of those late game fights. He was absolutely a man unleashed. The Silas causing a lot of issues, but also JDG. This was a composition which, realistically, I think you came out with the advantage of from that draft phase. JDG now 2-1 down, a team which, you know, a lot of people, particularly on, say, LPL English, were saying were the best team within the LPL. Well, what about now? Lower bracket, 2-1 down against arguably the weakest team in playoffs coming into it.
Yeah.
Besides maybe FPX, one of our bottom rung teams. JDG may be bombing out on home soul.
That's rough. That is really rough. There's not much way to say about that one. And that's in a tricky position, I think, as JDG. Of course, they get to go towards blue side, and it does feel like blue side, once again, winning a lot of games. And again, we said, look, actually, WE not sure about this draft, and in fairness to them, they actually executed it largely pretty well. The Silas and the Viego combining to be a real problem in the backside and missing. On his Rakan, we didn't really have that conversation, but reminder, this is the guy who had an insane win streak.
No. I had that conversation, Sam. I mentioned it.
Yeah. But again, and then he has a pretty rough game on it, all things said and done. Yes, I think he was given an enviable task this game, but even so, kind of expect better for him on arguably his most iconic pick.
No, I mean, he went from arguably his best game I've seen from him in recent whiles to one of his worst. There were several key moments where JDG just looked lost on the map. Their macro in terms of their skirmishes has been very poor. And that's often seen them behind. Hayes is in elo hell right now. That Kindred get, not that Xayah game was very, very good from him, but he only has a flash every 5 minutes. And now WE 2-1 up. This should have been a ritual execution of WE. This should have been just JDG smashing through them in their home arena as the 3rd seed coming into this playoffs against the 8th seed or 9th seed, something like that, or 7th even. A team with much lower expectations, but W have outperformed our expectations at pretty much every turn. They slumped at the end of Group Ascend. I was wondering what would happen when they lost some of their key champions later into Draft, and maybe we'll see that coming out in Game 4 now, but really WE doing a much better job than I gave them credit for today.
They have come in and once again pushed people to the limit. Remember, this happened the other day as well, where FPX took us to Game 5 and couldn't quite close it out. WE, 2 games to do it. Doing it off red side next time around, that makes things a little bit tricky. But, you have to get a bit worried here. There's the goal graph. It got very spicy indeed. Yeah, the Senna and Xayah doing their very best to trade out damage. Just ended up becoming a bit of a problem once the Yorick kind of got critical mass and started pulling the map apart a bit, it felt like.
Do you need a break for anything?
I could use a glass of water or a cup of tea, so I might open the door and do that, and I'll come back and help you out on that front. Do you want to put the kettle on and make you a coffee or anything while I'm out there?
Well, I don't use the kettle for coffee.
Why do we want a cup of tea?
I'm okay. Yeah, I appreciate it. Yes. That is. Karis player of the game? Yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome. Can't believe missing with that charge mid lane as well. Rotex, right? Yeah, that was an awesome sales game. Karis was exceptional. Karis was exceptional. Oh, Shun had one good ult, and then the rest of it just was very bad after that. Yeah, let's play some words on stream. Although I do need to run some adverts as well at some point. Is Karis the most improved player from start of the year? He's up there. Anyone else I've put in the list? Yeah, Karis might be it, you know. Yeah, Karis might be the most improved player. I agree.
买3C 数码就上京东，国补叠加也就换新4折起。买手机上京东，享国补加倍补低至5折购机；买电脑上京东，国补叠加也就换新低至5折起。买数码上京东，爆款至高24期免息。电竞键鼠3重补贴，至高优惠50%。打开京东搜赛事预测，赢1000元耳机。京东。
LEDs. Bedless would actually be a word there though, and you're actually correct.
再一次对阵京东的话，因为京东在赛季后半段表现比较好吧，
honestly, if we
但
get
是
a
我们当时打他的时候，我们也是有希望是能赢的，所以我觉得我们这次只要做的再好一点，还是比较有机会能拿下来的吧。 再次对上阿乐选手的话，我觉得就比较需要小心他的武器大师吧，因为我觉得他武器大师就算是他的绝活吧。第二胜战我们杀入季后赛的话，我觉得是我们就打架那些做的比较好吧，然后就运营这些很多方面都有很多不足吧，所以后续就需要把这些东西都加强一下吧。就虽然我们输了的话，但是我觉得我们还是不要气馁吧，因为 AL 是我们自己公认最难打，所以我觉得也不用太担心吧。打其他的我觉得我们都是很有机会的。
So there's got to be a FA word, right? Rotor? Oh, hang on, wait, that actually might be a mistake. We might be going to draft live right now. Whoopsies. Might have to lose this round then, folks. Oh, we're pretty close to passing this round anyway. Come on. A bit more. I think U is fake. Nice, passed. Cool. Okay, that's good enough. Ooh, that's some badass music too, actually. Get it occasionally here in the playoffs. JDG, against the wall. Blue side has won all 3 games in the series, has been the case. I don't necessarily feel like it's because of blue side, but blue side has been winning. Maybe it's just some kind of demonic aura that comes with it. Yone, yet to be picked in this series, worth noting. It really felt like that was going to get some more value. He's been banned in so many others, and both these mid laners play it. Top lane running out of tanks as well, the Scion and the Ornn gone. Cube actually getting value off of the tank picks, which I wasn't prepared for. Monkey's going to be losing some of his AD skirmishes as well, especially with the Trundle out. Perhaps that opens up some angles for JDG, knowing that Monkey, I guess he really has something like the Neferi left. And that's kind of it in terms of his AD skirmish junglers. Ezreal, unbanned, first pick for Pays. Very good player of the champion. Taeyin is too. Off the table now for the rest of the series. The side, the Karma picked away. What do they have that they want to pick with that? I mean, Vampire is not a good Karma player. They move him off of support, engage for the first time. Monkey is Jhin Karma is good though. That gives you some engage back. Jhin was banned away from Taeyin for most of the series actually. So what do you pair up with the Ezreal now? No Nico. Bard is about as good as it gets in terms of the mages you have now, unless you want to really dig down into something mage supportive, which no one does right now. I think taking away the Neferi is a very important pick here. Can't play the Pantheon. I would pick the Neferia away from Monkey. They pick Sejuani instead, but what are your melee synergies across the map? Go the Yone. Did you go towards that Yone, which has been unpicked and banned for the entirety of the series? Surprised to see it unbanned. Kali for Karis. It's okay in the Yone matchup. Kali Yone has been well studied now. Karis been on an absolute tear today. I would argue Karis has been the better mid lane between him and Scout. Scout not getting nearly as much value as Karis on the playmaking picks which he's been locking in. Hello Sam, good to welcome you back. Into game 4, JDG, of course over on blue side, first picking away the Ezreal, and for the first time we'll see a Yone in the series. Feels like it's ever banned. It wasn't really even banned this series, but still locked in.
Yeah, it hasn't been the first priority for these two teams, which is interesting, right? Because in a number of other teams or against a number of other players, you just go, they have to go. You can't leave them up.
Now, some things to keep in mind now. JDG don't have any magic damage.
Ooh, true.
So, but they are also
like a permafrost. That'll do. And essence, like it's AP Ezreal.
Gives you a little bit. But you also want some melee synergies with Sejuani too. What would you pick in top lane? I mean, they banned away the Kennen, which is something that Arla has played in the past.
Rumble and Gwen are also down, which might have been options. And don't get me wrong, there is like, Yone's always weird to itemize against because in the extended trades he gets some magic damage off the autos. But you're right, there isn't a true magic damage source, and that does get quite tricky here.
W don't have that much CC themselves. JDG might feel like they can not ban it.
Yeah.
Maybe get away with not banning the Neferia, which is a worry. They might ban it anyway. They ban away the Renekton, which is strong early in that top side. I mean, Monkey could go towards the Neferia now.
I was going to say the Kennen has been banned away because I think it's now a special. I was like, oh, that would work, and then I didn't look at that.
Wouldn't surprise me if Arla goes towards a Jace, actually. Jace and Sejuani, double ranged. Monkey does play the Volibear in terms of early skirmishes. Did he play it the other day, or was that Weibo? There was a team.
Yeah.
I think Weibo played a game of it.
Tarzan played it.
And yeah, so it was Anyone's Legend that played a game of it, and which I called the worst draft I've seen in LPL in a long time. And they still managed to win with it against Weibo. The Jarvan locked in instead. Not a big fan of this because both carries can escape from JDG.
As can the Sejuani.
As in the Sejuani. So I mean, the Jarvan not getting a huge amount of value here. The Ambassador also happy to take a turn in the Thunderdome.
And again, there's your melee synergy. You're all right with the fact that you are a little shy on the magic damage outside of some sort of mixed damage here and there, and just say, look, even if
Okay, missing. You've right-clicked into the enemy too many times. Have someone else to control your movement.
Are we going for Camille as well? Are we getting an Arla Camille?
I really like the Aatrox here, actually, because there's no CC to really help him. Ambassador or Aatrox both are fine. They're the melee synergy, which you like with the Sejuani. There's no massive tank threats on the side of Team WE.
Camille, I want one of them. Yes!
There we go. All right, one of the 4 horsewomen of the apocalypse. WE, you have a last pick, top lane or mid lane to lock in. I don't mind the Ambassador. That will give you some limited CC. You could also go Galio as well if you wanted to chuck that into mid lane and throw the Akali top lane. Choosing not to Ambassador top lane. WE, not that much CC that actually matters against JDG. Every single member has a way out of the Cataclysm. WE, though, their early games have been exceptional. Their early games have been really, hello Maya as well, the J-Borg's cat as well. I feel like it's appropriate given the Yumi on the riff. I do need to get myself another coffee, so I'm going to do that while we're into 4th game. This is do or die now for JDG. This is elimination point. WE, a monumental effort to make a run in this lower bracket would be the winner of this faces up against Top Esports. But WE have 2 match points against JDG.
Eyes on it, and it's a fun draft. They've got a lot of tools here to potentially take over the game. Kali for Karis has always been a specialty pick. Jarvan we've raised an eyebrow about, but it's good early skirmishing, good early target access, can threaten some people at the back end of it. If you can get rolling, some of those side lanes get a little bit more interesting. Seen the Akali into the Yone quite a lot. If you can use the Shuriken flip well, you can avoid the Q3. The Mortal Steel ends up looking a little bit too mortal. Camille as well, and there's an interesting matchup into the Ambassador. I remember chatting with some of the pros when we saw this a little bit when Ambassador was first released. Basically, Camille wants the short trades. Get yourself that Precision Protocol Part 2 with your passive Adaptive Defenses shield, get a couple orders, and then back out. Ambassador She wants the long trade. She wants to go in a lot harder. Take that initial trade and then keep going. Use your level 6 Omnivamp to keep haunting the Camille while her cooldowns are down, and then you can back away. But if you allow Camille to keep hopping in for short trades and backing up, you're going to lose those incremental poke moments. But onto the Rift we go. Crowds, take it away.
欢迎来到英雄联盟。还有30秒到达战场。
Crowds have done their yelling. This will be Arla's first game of Camille so far this split. She is known as a player of the champion, but it's been a little while since we've seen Camille in general, all things said and done. The synergies are there. You've certainly got the ability to play the 1-3-1s very well. The skirmishing is dangerous. And Hextech Ultimatum plus a Glacial Prison. Sounds pretty miserable. Add an Ayumi to empower some of your melee assassins, and you can do quite a lot of work. Grasp for the Yone as well as the Camille. Of course, Yone has been known to do things like fleet footwork and a few of those other options, but going for a bit more of that health stacking option. WE though, skirmishing's also pretty good. A little low on CC, but a lot of like skirmishing potential of their own right. They argue they've probably come online just a little bit earlier with the Ambessa and the Jarvan. Harley as well can match the Yone pretty well, and if Karis or you can get ahead, some nasty tools there. Even if they're CC, a bit more conditional, shall we say. Other ways to get out of the Cataclysm, for example, from JDG. Bot side, it's not a Karma. Of course, the Karma was taken, so you couldn't Ezreal Karma. So trying to match that with the Yuumi. Missing was once a pretty good player of that, alongside people like Ruler back in the day when Zeri Yuumi was a thing. Oh, Karis misses a minion. Wasn't a cannon, it's alright. Like minus 0.5. Damage comes on down. Taeyun gets exhausted and cleanses it away. 1.5 HP. Bot side, Q gets a nice chunk before Arla can get the adapt defenses down. Shouldn't though, it is bot side. And Taeyun and Vampire are shoved up. They've walked across vision now, so they're going to start running away. Even with the passive and the fleet footwork is alright.
So, early bot lane. Ezreal Yuumi, one of the reasons it's really fallen off is because the laning phase is much more difficult than it was. Worth noting as well, Shun going for a wraparound gang.
He's trying to try again.
He will, actually. They don't have the exhaust. They don't have that much hard CC. He's flashed on the Taeyun and Vampire. Should approach this.
That was burned early on as the exhaust came on down. They're going to try and get the root on down. They're trying to play from that regardless to get the deadly flourish on in to say, well, we'll go for the full all in. Missing now in danger. Can't get back onto the side of Ezreal because the W was interrupted. Taeyun will fall. Vampire needs to speed himself up. Gets some defiance to his name. Doesn't have a flash. Gets the root down. Gets that onto Pace. No renewal though, so the healing just isn't there. And they ended up going 2 for 1.
Now, Taeyun and Vampire doing fairly well at turning around these ganks into at least 1 kill, but losing 2 this time and getting a kill not over to just the Ezreal, but the Sejuani as well. That's a problem. However, the prize on the other side, Monkey clearing fast through the top side camps, and Monkey will be ahead in the individual matchup again. Shun has been falling behind an XP in every single game. He's investing a lot to get his bot lane or A lane ahead, but he's been so far behind. I wonder whether Monkey could just run off with this game. That was a huge farm advantage.
Gonna get the full quadrant. Oh my days.
This is a jobless Sejuani. This is why you can't drop camps continually and just spam gank anymore. You can't just hit level 3 and expect things to go completely fine after that point. So, Taeyun and Vampire, they're at level 2. I go for a hard trade. Missing, I guess, just walks over, tries to activate his passive, and then, yeah, just gets completely caught out by the CC chain. Both double flash forwards. It is summoners used by Taeyun and Vampire, but they do get the 1 kill back.
Their thought process, well, we're not getting out, so we may as well go in. Vampire goes down. Nice return gang from Shun. He's still stuck at 60s, yes, but 2-0-1. The ganks have worked. Gonna lose more camps, though.
No, he's level 3 to level 5. Level 3 to level 5. Now, maybe JDG are banking on the fact that the Jarvan won't actually have that much use later, because there's so many people that can get out of that pit. But that doesn't mean you can play without a jungler. Shun is going to be absolutely useless in terms of XP and in terms of being a tank if he stays at this kind of deficit.
Monkey can keep invading, especially with Cube having this early shove here. Could allow for a return to this blue side quadrant and make things very tricky. Back to a full Coalfields Warhammer. In a great spot here. Of course, the gold lead, ironically, is over towards Pays right now. Not Pays, Shun right now, and that's basically he's managed to get those ganks off early. Success.
Yeah, but again, this is why many years ago we left the permagank meta and went into like more of a farming meta around about the 2021-22 season. Around that, it went from being 2018-2019 Camille, Lee Sin, Trundle jungle even.
Put all in here, gets the ult out of Scout. Note that Monkey is 2 camps off 6 here. The moment he gets that, he's got it. It was actually just off the one.
He can't kill. He can't kill. Scout has himself the W. You can see that to stand that bottom left-hand side of your corner.
He's got Cataclysm.
He has the Cataclysm, but again, he needs to really use this lead he's been given. He is over double Shun CS, a player who, a lot of people have a lot of fond memories of Shun from his time on BLG or IG. A very personable player, and player which has reached a world finals, of course, the BLG as well. He was a large part of the reason JDG found success in this split, but he's also the reason that they're slumping right now in no small part.
Drag a few of these dragons over, that'll be the trade. It doesn't have any raptors up, so Shun will at least manage to steal away a drug camp, but that's it. Best moment there on the Sejuani. And actually, if you're coming towards a Grubs fight in about a minute and a half, I wonder whether Shun's going to be in trouble in terms of having level 6 around a potentially big fight.
Oh, he'll definitely have issues with that. So JDG might have to trade early objectives for early bot lane lead. Now, you have managed to get your Ezreal Yuumi out of the early game. That is a factor. That is useful. However, I will say, Ezreal, if you have a bad position in the team fight, Vesserol forcing out the E, or Jarvan forcing out the E, Karis Akali will chase you down. But this Ezreal is not impervious in this game. Getting out of early game definitely helps, and there's an exhaust on the Yuumi to help them survive later on into the play. But this is not going to be just, oh, if Ezreal gets ahead, it's the end of the game. It makes it easier, sure, but it's not going to be nearly so simple.
Especially because the Sejuani hasn't really tamed up with the solo lanes to get them ahead, has looked towards his Ezreal, and I get the angle, right? Pays is a very, very scary player, and it's put Taeyu a ways behind where he was hoping not to be. Hey, at the end of the world, it's only a 400 gold discrepancy, whereas you're looking towards this jungle and you're going, that's a bit tricky. At least catch-up XP is a hell of a drug in the jungle, and so actually Shun should be hitting level 6 pretty shortly.
Yeah, he's still, a level and a half down. It's a hell of a lot. He'll clear through the red buff. He will get himself to that level 6 off of that, but make no mistake, Shun is not happy with his position in the game in terms of farming clear. So just hoping basically that the Jarvan being ahead will not matter as much as the Ezreal.
Big, well, a level down. It's going to be the end of the world here with the level 6 now up. Can get towards his grubs with that available. Do they care? I think not. Monkey now moving away from that farm.
It would be a
4v5.
4v5. You look down on the minimap, and he's happy to just say, look, I'm going to go towards bot side instead. If Shun can go into bot side jungle and get a camp steal here, maybe that'll be okay. Instead, backing to get himself spend that gold. 3 grubs over to W will be the cost of that.
Pretty annoying when you've gone for Camille, Yona. You'd like some of those grubs, please. Gonna happen here. Zala, we at least get a bit of time alone on this bot side turret, so we get a plate here. Not too much more than that.
Or something. JDG choose to not fight at this point. As you were saying before, gold relatively even in jungle matchup. Bot lane, you expect the Jhin Calm to be very, very lane dominant because of the efforts of Shun. Not necessarily been as simple as that. Tay and Vampire staying in top side 3 grubs will allow them to get the second combo with you by Monkey there. I don't think you can actually smite this away.
He's got the upgraded smite. He's got the upgraded smite at that 900, whereas Shun's only at 6.
But I'm pretty sure that Shun just got that anyway. Pretty sure. I saw the gold crop up on top of that. I think he got it regardless.
Second, that's a bit frustrating. Should have been an easy pickup from Monkey. Was he a bit off on the smite there? He's used it.
Not sure. Had used it, but I feel like Shun. I saw the gold crop up ahead of it, so I assumed it was him. But maybe I missaw. 3 grubs now being used by Karis to get some extra damage onto the turret there.
He's spot out our Jones. Keep an eye on it as we look mid lane where trading has been going pretty well for the Akali early. Managed to pick up a fair CS lead of about 10 or so, been keeping Scout trapped under this turret.
Yeah, it definitely hurts Scout the fact that Shin was so active on the bot side of the map, couldn't really do anything about the melee versus melee matchup in mid lane, especially with Monkey being able to punish.
You were indeed right. Look, there is no blue buff around Monkey, so there you go. Missed smoke, despite having the advantage.
I saw the gold pop up and I thought, ha, Sejuani passive, hell of a drug. Managed to win that out somehow, and that's important because it allows him to pick up again a little bit of that XP which he's missing. Every camp which he manages to take is actually a fairly big deal for Shin.
Mid lane could be a bit threatening. Q3 available. That Mortal Steel also comes on down. Graded TPs. Does get that knock up into the Spirit Cleave. Get too much more. Arla getting a bit of shove up top side, but doesn't quite get much more than a little bit of a plate there. And Cube should be there to receive the wave.
Jungle is clearing through some camps and getting a Scuttle Crab, which is again nice for him, picking up some of the XP which he lost earlier. Still solid, almost full level down onto Monkey.
Monkey's not really... He's got too early objectives, and that is good. Don't get me wrong, that is something. But he's yet to pull a character, he's yet to really get value out of a level lead as yet. And again, only a single level down as a tank. Flash away as that Shuriken flip would have threatened to kill.
Yeah, he had to. Scout maybe could have done some big outplay flash under turrets that he came in and then locked them up with the ultimate on the other side of it. It would have been a very close run thing. Top lane is now fighting off very heavily. Arla always was a very good duelist player on the top side. His Jax, Fiora, Camille were very notable on the LMG days of 2021. Almost stopping the reset with the Predator Bolt. One of the most annoying things that Akali can have in the game for stuff like that. Allows them, for some reason, a bit more range potential.
Valiant effort there from Karras. And again, for all that Karras has been a pretty streaky player, Akali will always be a comfort pick for him. He's so good on it. Had the Azir earlier as well. Very different style of champion, but another one he's very comfortable on. Hang on, Scout needs to be a bit wary. Just out of range of that flag and drag, so it's just the Martial Cadence auto, and that'll be it.
Yeah, it would have been nice to get the full chunk in there with the extra auto attack after Shin now flying over. There's no combo. Hang on, he might be able to get a play here.
He's into the Twilight Shroud. Scout doesn't pull the ultimate. Dragon's up. That would be second for WE.
Shouldn't have managed to hit that Q knock up. I think the melee synergy would have come out tops there. Monkey now going to start off this Dragon. Mounted Dragon, of course, always good in terms of basic ones to get. Haven't seen the Rift yet, of course, we'll get after that point. JDG yet to give a big fight. With Pace refalling, does have the teleport reminder. He can go get himself some stats, maybe come back. I think realistically, JDG don't want to tussle right now. Want to try and get some farm out of lanes.
Prowling projectile comes on out, is missing, is now on top of Shun, made himself best friend forever. The way to try to balance you needs to stick with their AD carry, say, look, you get added bonuses for sticking on them.
Because it was so broken when you would play with Xin Zhao or Lee Sin. Olaf was a huge one, yes, for sure, because it turns out that any kind of AD fighter champion, like Camille or something like that, getting extra heals and shields is just not balanceable. They tried to remove some of the ability to play around that. But when you get this late into the draft, you'll still take an enchanter in a map like this.
Scout unbinds his soul briefly, and Karras goes, eat my 5-point strike. And Scout goes, no, not like this. And has to rebind his soul.
No, have mercy. I mean, Karras got the early plate, about 10 CS stuff, as we were saying. Basically, because Shin was behind in the XP and was not really playing around mid lane, it meant that Scout had to play very respectfully towards Monkey, who wasn't ever present around mid lane, could just drop off of a wall take or something like that and come run mid lane. That's the reason for a lot of that pressure. Of course, doesn't change the fact now that Karras is ahead on a pick which could potentially solve this game for WWE. Karras has been a man unleashed. He's been very, very good in this series. His style's walking away with MVP from that last game. For a player much like Taeyu and much like many other players on this roster, exceeding expectations. And we'll see what he can do with this draft. That Akali could be the key piece to WWE's victory.
Some of the scrim gods of the LCK finally showing a bit more on stage. Cataclysm finally used from Monkey, but the face only lands with the one. Next person comes across, back away as the final chapter is burned and no one's interested in reading. TP in from Cube. Needs to get some Drakehound steps away. No one dies. There's some summoners that burn. That's about it. Deadly Forest land. Pace now in danger. Gets all up. The equal tumble down to the Monkey. Gonna get Hextech. Ultimate Marla's also here. Public execution. Oh, the shield! Oh, the Defiance is great. And now the perfect execution could come on through. There's a lot of executions this game. Beginning to find some force shots. One to come on through. It's missing with a body block anyway.
Yeah, Arla dies to get Pazen missing out because he goes in to just get a bit of CC down and likely knew it was a one-way trip, and JDG failed their first attempt at a fight this game. Really wonder whether Scout could have had a more valuable ultimate. Only the single target hit in that Karma on the backline, and WE get themselves a kill, and that's a good moment for them, showing that actually, this Yuumi Ezreal, which has got out of this early game, is not terminating things just yet.
Also means coming into this dragon fight in 2.5 minutes, Paze will not have flash.
Importantly so, because Karis forced it out of it just there. So, Cataclysm over the wall. Scout could have got a big clump. I think if he catches Taeyun, and Vampire, I think this fight is very, very different. Couldn't quite get the follow-up there. And then this is just whatever the hell Z-axis is. Because I just thought, I mean, look at this! How does that hit?
Way wild. I don't blame FaZe on that one.
That's basically Jin being on higher ground than the Ezreal who's on low ground. And look, the line on the ground is not where the particle goes. It is a 2D game made to look like 3D. It is a false vertical axis, and it does cash you out. That's just nasty.
You, weak, ineffectual, blame Zed the champion. I, intellectual, Chad caster, blame Zed the axis. That is the true menace in League of Legends.
It is sometimes. Herald now available. No huge gold lead for anyone now, actually. Herald's 400 gold, that's the most it gets. WE, they don't have the Flash Cataclysm themselves.
Maybe play this regardless. I think it would be a bit risky though. Karis in a spot of danger, backs away on it. Rather save their ammunition for the dragon fight in a minute and a half. Monkey though finds a good turnaround into the Cataclysm. Karis to the backline. They've murdered one. They've done Monkey though and trade. Should getting a purple cross off on the cube. Looking at Drake, can't step around. Does a lot of work. The Hectic ultimate.
Oh, Pays.
Danger. Trying to get a lot of damage down. He's getting to auto. Karis flashed on, and Arleth flashes for the auto. She needs to back away. Needs to get the blast zone out to safety. Where is he going though? His phase has been unleashed. The Yuumi on top of him means he just won't die.
The Ezreal Yuumi is online. Red alert, Defcon 1. Pays and missing clean up the fight because WE feel like they can, engage onto the targets in front of him, but they don't get enough damage down on the AD carry to survive the back end of the fight.
I need to see this again because it felt like Monkey found a really good angle at the start of that. Karis gets into the backline and Pace just isn't touched.
Yeah, I thought that Karis getting into melee range of Ezreal would be enough, but I guess not with missing Enchanter online. Surely we'll see a replay of it, but just watch how much time Karis spends in melee range of Pace. We'll see it now. There's the initial pick onto Scout, which is a good one. There's half the damage going down. It's a good melee synergy with the Sejuani taken out, especially with Yone's ultimate not really being able to determine things. Look at Karis here. Melee range. Gets himself some extra damage, chooses to put some onto Shun instead. Karis is melee range of the Ezreal and chooses not to hit him.
Yeah, that's turn on to the execute on Sejuani.
I think Karis, basically following the team call of, let's kill the first target, but you need to do damage to the Ezreal. You are melee range. It's a golden opportunity. Rarely do you get that against such a mobile carry that doesn't execute on it.
Perfectly. Dragon's now up. It would be soul point for WE, but after that last debacle, I don't think they're going to have a chance to set up properly.
Double summoners from missing coming up soon in the next half a minute. So heal and exhaust are going to be something that they have to get through. Karis not having the flash, making it harder to determine some of the damage coming down there. Dragon started by WE, would be Ocean Soul point. Not something Shady you want to give over lightly, but they're not in position to contest right now.
Keep Shun away from them. The best CC for it. I think it becomes a smite fight. Try and turn around. 2k HP. Gets it. Does Vampire. As both jungler smite a little early. Cleanse away from Taeyun. Is hit by the Glacial Crystal. Beginning to turn around. The final chapter comes up through. Monkey is dead. Not all that tanky. All of that gold early means very little. Vampire now in danger. Trapped in the Hectic ultimatum. They lose a second. Soul point for 2.
Soul point for 2. However, JDG don't have another objective to go towards. 2 minutes until the Aftercon. They can maybe push towards a turret and take that. JDG threatening in the fight, and that is really, really worrying for WE now. 3 kills in Arla, 2,000 gold ahead. If it wasn't enough trying to deal with the Ezreal and the Yuumi, now you have to deal with a very hang on effect ult. So let's going forward.
The open now Scout's gone way too deep. He's in so much trouble. Gonna get some healing sort of, but dies anyway. The Binding of the Soul. Kurt's now called, looking for an angle. Shoots some people, but Shun is pretty damn tanky at this point. He's down 40 CS and still doing better than Monkey right now.
Scout, 1,000 gold down himself though. Talking about, hey, really important that Arla and Paze are ahead. Scout, a player which should not escape criticism for JDG. I think probably the two worst performers, I would argue, are Shun and missing across this team, but Scout has not been playing well either. No, he really has been. Paze and Arla, I think, being more consistent for this team. Paze, he's been trying his goddamn best, folks. He's been so excellent for this team. The mid jungle and the support for JDG all having their rough patches. Right, this is against WE. This is not what we consider a strong team in the LPL, but JDG, a team which have been on their ups and downs. They've had slumps, they've had spikes, and right now, sadly, they're frothing so hard. Perhaps WE could force them out of playoffs in their own home turf.
Look at this Dragon again, because it comes down to a Vampire auto to claim it. 1900 HP.
ridiculous.
Oh,
I mean, how it ends up being like that, insane to me. 2 smites and neither of them gets it. So then of course the fight comes afterwards. They've stayed a little over position. If WWE are the ones that are actually engaged onto and they can't find an ult onto the backline onto someone important, they get busted. You know, the Camille ult, if it lands onto someone like the Jarvan or the Camille or the Ambassador or the Akali even in the fight, one, it will split the team and disrupt them, but also it stops them from joining on the dive in the backline. Ala with a golden opportunity now to win the team fight for JDG. Of course, JDG would like to not give over the soul point for the big combat buff to WE, but JDG have the tools to win team fights still.
they very much do, and the fact that Ezreal is so online should be scared. There's no other way around it. Understandably, Taylor has gone collect it into Lord Doms, needs all of the armor pen as possible to deal with the fact there will be a fair amount of things. Sterak's armor stacking, particularly if it is Sejuani holding the line.
Atakan started up his own vision. Keep has teleport to go down. Ala in the mid lane right now. I mean, he can just get out of this. Has no flash, but hookshot is enough for him right now. Melee synergy with Sejuani means you take objectives very quickly. Monkey's still heading down though, and they are getting shredded by the Atakan.
He's gonna dodge himself, gonna flag and drag towards it, and get on into the drive. Fine, Akali nabs it! Monkey will likely die here as a result, but the objective is stolen. Hang on, Karis' TP away, gets out to safety, does!
And it's one for Atakan. JDG, panic, desperation, and misexecution. Karis steals the Atakan because Shun's smite key is not on point. It's a criticism we've had of him before. JDG will not be able to defend their mid lane turret either. It's not like you can take one kill into the Baron. It's much too early for that. We'll only be spawning in 4 minutes time. And WE sneaking bits and pieces away from JDG. W haven't really won a big team fight yet, but if they keep happening like this, maybe you don't have to in this kind of sense. The smite is poor, hits it with the E, goes down to 100 HP. That's 2 objectives in a row, but Shun is smoked early and not secure.
Doesn't work. In the end, it's the Atakan still. Soul Point and Atakan makes things tricky. This Akali is still very, very scary. I think the moment the Shadow Flame comes on through, life gets trickier again. Lord Dominic's now done for Taeyu. All the while, though, Shun, for all the smite fights have been good, is actually managed to get value in terms of Paze is still pretty much untouchable. The Sejuani, for all she's ahead 800 gold despite being down 40 CS. It hasn't led to the advantage we were worried about.
Yeah, and Paze is going for the Shojin third because you can do it. That means he's going to have a bunch of extra HP and a bunch of extra ability. I think until that happens, there is a chance that, you know, not Galio, I just see the Jarvan, I just sometimes make that connection. The Jarvan, the Ambassador, and the Akali want to force the first E out of the team fight so someone else can face up and take them down. With Shojin, you hit 2 Qs and your E is back up. You also got the extra shielding, the double defensive summoners from missing helping you out. It's not nearly as easy to play once they get that item. So WE, I mean, with 20 seconds of the Dragon, they'd like to take this, but they don't necessarily... This is actually a good window for them. They can get the Soul before the Shojin comes through and causes big problems with the extra mobility coming out of the Ezreal.
Fortunately, Monkey doesn't have the Sterak's or anything yet. That would give him a lot more ability to go hell to leather. But finding a flat line access forces Pace to be away, but really get all that Akali. Monkey in danger. But on the other side, Scout is just dead. Monkey clenched away, buying some time. Karis caught inside the Hextech ultimate and he's trying to find some value. He's going to get loads of damage though. Lands a Shuriken flip again. Continues trying to keep missing alive. Shun will force at least the flash out. Can you jump on a Pace? Who's got missing on top of him? Can they get on top of him? They get him! Drag! They brought him down. Missing's gone to the pit. And still Karis survives in the jungle. He's trading up with Shun with no HP. Permafrost brings him down. Sighting away Shun, but doesn't die.
Fourth shot kills him. Last kill for Taeyeon, but most importantly, the Soul. Scout dies once again, unceremoniously. 2,000 gold down. No kills on the board in the Yone. JDG just gave up Ocean Soul, and they also flubbed the team fight. WE, this was their chance to take a big fight before the third item from the Ezreal, which we talked about being an issue for them. They find that one miracle moment, and now JDG, they have to play against an Ocean Soul. And I wonder whether they're going out 3-1 here, Sam. I mean, initially Monkey forces the E out of Pace, but I was thinking, oh, it should be fine. But after that, you know, Scout uses the E a little late, gets rooted anyway, and Scout, you should have just ulted out to safety. Massive mistake from the veteran mid laner on poor form here for JDG.
Monkey gets a triple knock at the back end of it as well. Like, the guy goes in, gets targeted, gets out, goes right back in, and they just jump at base because then his front line is gone. He can't play at the distance as he wants to, and you're out of tools.
This mid-jungle from JDG, at the start of the year when it was announced that Shinobi joined the roster, and said, look, this roster will live and die by the mid-jungle. They're dying by it. Shun gets 1 kill here, but his game has been poor. He fell so far behind. his series has been largely quite poor. And Scout in the mid lane, he's arguably been worse, been a non-factor in some.
Yeah.
And yes, you have the Ocean Soul now, and W makes it so much harder to take extended fights.
This game from Shun, the smite key's been problematic. Everything else, I can really see the reason for it. Had a good Xin Zhao game, and then the other games were just so much the other way. Consistency has hurt this player. A Monkey looking for the flag and drag. Doesn't quite get paid, but does get on to the Sejuani, who's got the final chapter rolling from the Uni on top of the Monkey. Going to be locked up, trying to buy some time, get some decent healing, but it's a lot of time. They're going to kill off Mirs. As Karis looking for the angle, they've chosen the Uni going trapped off top of someone. Into the back guards on the pace. Murders everyone! Shun! Eating the 5-point strikes, the curtains are called. JDG are bowing out of playoffs.
WE find their mid lane play they were looking for. Karis on his Akali assassinates Pays, and JDG, it was one game of hubris too far. JDG may be bowing out in round 1 of lower black bracketer playoffs.
WE, once known as World Elite, once the greatest team the LPL had ever known, the home of Wei Xiao. Arguably the greatest AD carry player to ever do it, never mind Uzi, there's a legend in his own right. Onto the Baron they go. Shun has yet to hit a smite. Maybe this is the moment. He's going to have to try. He feels the desperation to do it. If JDG bow out here, what a disappointment. Z-Axis again. We know what Zed we all really hate. There's the Baron secured. Another death for 40 seconds for Shun.
JDG, I think this is it. I think this is it. Pays has tried his damn best. I don't want to see people criticizing Pays in the comments after this game because, oh my god, he is trying his best. It's Shun falling behind. It's the poor smite key which gave the objectives over while JDG were in the advantage. And it's Scout being completely diffed by Karis, a player which people had zero expectations of. You have a world champion in Scout in the mid lane from 2021, multiple LPL champion, a legend of the LPL scene, achieving so little, missing Karis for that ultimate there. Maybe that could have been the lockup to save Pays. Shun flashed over and just ends up dying as well. Karis, magnificent series from a mid laner with so low expectations on himself. Magnificent series from WE with so low expectations on themselves.
Taeyun, 7-2. Karis on his pick, the Akali. It's one of those champions that he has always gone to when the chips are down, the back's against the wall. Series point to take out JDG. Yeah, that'll count.
WE, if they win this, they go against top esports. A hard task, but one they will have earned for themselves. You know, WE, I didn't think they would reach Group Ascent. They proved me wrong. I didn't think they'd make it through JDG. They might prove me wrong again here with Baron buff, with a gold lead, with Ocean Soul. I don't see how JDG fight their way through this now. W have so many tools to get past the front line and force the Ezreal E because they're so fed. If they were behind the game, I don't think that would be the case. But they have so much gold now, I don't think Pays will ever be safe on his own. JDG must find a way to protect this Ezreal, or their split ends here.
Horrifying thoughts, really. Arla's got 2 items. You've got 2 items on the only 3 on the Ezreal. There are tools here, but it needs to catch multiple people. It needs to catch Taeyun and Karis before they do horrible things to Pays. Pays needs a team fight, but for once he's untouched, and that's just so hard to do now. Against Ocean Soul, your poke from Ezreal means a lot less when you back away for 10 seconds and it disappears.
Baron buff still being used at the last minute. Ultimate top side. There's no Ezreal here, and they catch Ezreal. In fact, he was there, and they kill him.
Perfect execution comes on through, and I apologise to the public one, because of course, in the mid lane, Karis having to deal with a 1v2 and just doesn't care. Lands a shuriken flip. We're back to where he started, and now the curtains are called again. Another bow, another encore, and JDG in danger. Arla tries to get out of his own base, but the hook shot finds nothing. Scout hit with the shuriken flip will rebind his soul, and in goes Karis again. The Mortal Steel looks all too over. He's in a grave and nothing left to buy, nothing left to do. Ding Dong Gaming go out in round 1 of playoffs.
JDG, the 3rd place team in Winter, fell by WD, a team which we didn't even expect to be here. World Elite, welcome back. JDG bow out on their home stage.
Eyes go to the heavens, hands go to the heavens, because look, a miracle is occurring in front of your eyes. WE are going forwards, and they do it 3-1. Well, that was fun, wasn't it? We've got ourselves worked on stream briefly. Let me close that one down. I was about to say hello to people. That will not be the case. Hello. How are you all doing, guys? That was fun. Who even gets MVP? It's got to be Karis gets MVP.
For the whole series, it's definitely Karis. I think Karis has been
absurdly good. WE should not have been here. By the names on the paper, by the results we saw at the back end of Group Ascend, they shouldn't have been here. They are. They proved me wrong. They proved so many people wrong. This is that underdog story, which is so exciting to watch. On the other side, JDG, a team which top 3 in playoffs. Last split, team with world champion in Scout. Shun, a world finalist, an MSI finalist from last year. Pays, who was for me a world, an MVP caliber champion player from this year in LPL. Last year's MSI champion won't be able to qualify to defend that title. JDG, this is a historic crash and burn. Historic. This team should not be going out at this point. WE, to WE of all teams.
And it's, I'm gonna put this out there. It's another playoffs where Scout chokes. I remember that LNG squad that went out 0-5-0. Lost the upper round, lost the lower round. This is happening occasionally here for this player, and it's an embarrassing way to have it happen. For guys like Monkey, phenomenal. For Cube, some redemption. People like Vampire, maybe we need to have a chat again, because he had another good series he did, and I remember having conversations where people like Aragon were like, maybe I want to say WE could be top 5 by the end of this. And yes, it's a bit bold, but you have to see that there is some fun happening with this team, some hype, and you can see where it's coming from.
While I disagree that WE are a top 4 team, I think they're exciting, I think they're overperforming, and they make you want to watch because they're a team which shouldn't be here, but they are anyway, and there's something very evocative about that.
And it's well earned.
Yeah, it's very well earned, and I will never discredit a team which exceeds my expectations. They are better than I thought they would be, and that is the best thing I want to see from a team. I want to see teams prove me wrong like that.
Well, that was fun. Let's see who the MVP was.
I'll see the highlights before that as well. But yeah, obviously thanks everyone for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed our broadcast of it. Of course, we stream all the LPL that we can. We stream regularly between 100 and 150 hours of LPL every month. And we do it for basically less than minimum wage. If you enjoy our work, please think about dropping a like, a subscribe, comments, things to help the algorithm. If you can as well, if there are any clips that you enjoyed from the stream, clipping them out of the stream and posting them on social media is probably the best thing you can do for us, if that's the thing which you have time for as well. Just being here does obviously make a difference as well. But we hope you enjoy our coverage of it as the most veteran active LPL casters in the world now, actually, really.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think in terms of the amount of games that we've cast, I think we are between the two of us on average. Because a lot of, sadly, the old crew has gone down. Mazel's out there as well, of course, so it's a shout out to him. But we hope that you enjoy our expertise, our stories that we have of these players and the teams as well. Fun fact for Lana, I can give you one of them. Let me think. Scout, this is a fun fact. Scout always wins 3 best of 5s in summer. Always. He has, if he gets to summer split, he always wins 3 best of 5s. It doesn't matter if it's, finals or not, but, Raz is not casting LPL, Lamau, because in that case you could count Hysterics and Dagda, right? But they're not casting LPL. So that's where I make that distinction, right? So, we're the most veteran LPL casters right now because they're currently not performing in that role. And if they did come back, obviously that would be a thing. But yeah, no, fun fact. Scout always wins 3 best of 5s in summer. It's always a thing. It's happened 4 times. Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Crazy as well that Pays got that close, ended that massively, and ends up doing basically the same damage as the Jin, who ended up finally getting his items, becoming a threat in his own right. But that was a fun last game. Shun put a load of attention bot early, got loads of kills, managed to get ahead in goal, but was down in levels. But the 40 CS lead, is it going to matter? Because Monkey kept dying every time he went in. Pays was looking untouched, and then suddenly those fights started turning around. Ocean Soul gets picked up, the Atakan has fumbled, and we start getting crazy plays like this where you go, well, Pays got untouched. If this keeps happening, I don't know about this one, WE.
Yeah, no, this was a really good fight for JDG. The problem was just a couple of the fights after where Scout gets literally 0 value. Now, Shun fell behind individually, but that didn't... at least it got the Ezreal ahead. Scout just achieved nothing. He achieved nothing on his Yone, which has been so powerful. Shun missing his smites twice on key objectives obviously didn't help either. JDG, this is a hell of a way to crash and burn. A hell of a way to crash and burn. This is a team which should be getting top 4, realistically. Top 3. They finished 3rd in Ascend. We thought that there was a clear gap between our top 4 and the rest of the group, and that's just not the case here. The last time, hang on, the last time Scout won a best of 5 in spring was in 2022 on EDG. Are you kidding me?
That's mental.
That's
What?
absurd. I'm tweeting that. I'm tweeting that.
JDG fans are in tears.
And the WE fans are crying tears of joy too. You know,
Making it this
like guys,
far.
guys, I think a lot of people forget WE are one of what we call the big three, I believe it is, within the LPL fan groups, which I believe are EDG, RNG, and WE. I think that's the case. Maybe the big four. IG also is part of that. WE are one of the biggest fan bases back from the early days of League. World Elite and back in Season 2. That lasted for a little while longer. Of course, they were they won a split in 2015 as well. I think it was 2015 was around there too. They went from like 0-9 up until being a massive factor. So folks, that'll be the end of our stream today. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope that you've enjoyed the broadcast. If you have, we talked about this before, but obviously, you know, the LPL not having an official broadcast anymore, go support the LPL on whatever stream you enjoy the most. Give them your love, give them your support. There's no LPL stream like on lolesports. There's none of that marketing done for us. We have to do it ourselves. We'll see who the MVP was, and I would imagine it's Karis. It was Karis. 2 MVPs out of their 2 wins here. Insanely good play from Karis. We'll end the stream there. If you're on YouTube, thank you for watching the show. And if you're on Twitch, we'll find someone to radio over to.